So was the beginning of the show not good?
We got to
start over again.
Try again, guys. Brian says that first segment just didn't.
We're just
going to keep doing this until we get
it right.
All right. Got to get it down.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We're not here to coddle you, to soothe your ego.
I appreciate that.
Do better.
I'm here to be coached up.
Right. I mean, I would have liked to have known before the segment started that we were starting the show again. But no, I appreciate that. Be sure to join 710 for our ultimate. I'm sorry. Be sure to join 710. This is why we started over for our summer tradition at Hollywood Park Casino, the ultimate fantasy football draft party. That is tomorrow, starting at 4 p.m. at Hollywood Park Casino. Join Beto Duran, Kirk Morrison, DeMarco Farr, Marcus Grant, that's you,
hey,
producer Lindsay Baseball, Corporate Greg, and Morales live for a party. That's what it says. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. at the Hollywood Park Casino. Hollywood Park Casino, eat, drink, draft.
So is Morales? He's just going by Morales now. Is he, like Madonna and Prince?
A Brazilian
Morales?
soccer player,
right? I mean, like he just gets one name now.
Maradona.
Exactly. How does this happen?
Remember, I talked in Crosstalk. I talked about like the invisibility thing, so you could just go and watch how people live. Like in this case, a person like a bird on their shoulder. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same with Morales.
I feel like he would openly invite you into his lifestyle.
But I don't want him. I don't want to be invited. I don't want to.
You don't want to actually be part of it. You just want to watch from afar
and be able to slip away
quietly.
I get it when it becomes uncomfortable. So like 15 minutes.
I say it wouldn't be long.
Yeah. All right. The NBA schedule was released today. It's always a big deal for NBA fans. I have a question for you, Marcus. Mm-hmm. Have Anthony Davis and LeBron James already been disqualified from MVP voting? This year you need to play in 65 games to be eligible for any postseason awards, whether that's MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, All-NBA, whatever it is. The Lakers have 15 back-to-backs this year. That is one more than league average.
Yeah, so they might be.
So 82 minus 7, 15, that puts you at 67,
that puts you at 82 minus 7 puts you at 75.
82 minus 15.
82 minus 15 puts you at 67.
67.
Yeah, I'm not a math major. But that puts you at 67. And then that's just not to say of, whatever, just another veteran day of rest.
Right.
A
little dinged up
nagging injury here and there. Yeah, you're walking the tightrope. In terms of being eligible,
like this is one of these things that is like when you're digging out your NBA futures and stuff, you go into whatever sports book you prefer. Trying to put your bet is half based on who's going to play 65 games, and the answer is basically nobody. Nobody.
So yeah, you figure LeBron, AD,
Durant's
Kawhi,
not playing 65 games. Kawhi, yeah,
yeah.
Giannis didn't cross that threshold last year, did he? I don't think so.
So do you think we'll get to a point where guys are sort of, checking boxes? They're looking ahead. They're like, okay, I want to win X award, right? And looking down the road and be like, okay, maybe I don't sit this one out. What do I have to do to get to 65?
The idea. Because, like, for example, Anthony Davis really wants to win Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. Like, this is something that is, I think he feels slighted. I think it is important to him. And he really wants that award. So I think what they are thinking is, yes, you are more likely to get that if you put a threshold. I think 65 is probably a little too high now, the way the world works. But like I'm looking at here, James Harden, probably not MVP candidate, but he played. I'm just looking at I pulled up assist leaders, but he played 58 games last year. Halliburton played 56. Trae Young played 73. Jokic played 69. LaMelo Ball played 36. Ja played 61. If you bump this over to like rebounding, where we'll get more tall people, AD played 56. Sabonis played 79. Giannis played 63. Gobert played 70. Vucevic played 82. So your MVP candidates this year, if last year was any indication, your choices are going to be Domantas Sabonis, Rudy Gobert, and Trae Young. Those are the three guys you can vote for.
That's crazy. That's so lackluster.
That's
nope. Joel Embiid. He did cross the threshold. Right. He played 66. You know what? Jokic, Julius Randle played 77.
Jokic played 69, so he's available.
Right.
So you got
a couple dudes, but like not by much. So how much more do you think the Lakers will let Anthony Davis play? How much more do you think Anthony Davis will want it? LeBron doesn't care.
LeBron doesn't care. I think AD cares, as you mentioned. I think he wants to win Defensive Player of the Year. Also, do you backload it? I feel like it's a thing where early in the season, maybe you give those guys some rest and you sort of backload this thing. So like later in the season, as you're trying to make a playoff push or what have you, then you have these guys sort of up to speed. But the danger is, is everybody 100% healthy? Do you need them going hard, 100% of the time late in the season when you're trying to kind of get ready for the playoffs? That's the new dilemma I think you're working on.
Look, I don't pay for tickets, so like I get it. I'm not the person who profits from having this stuff on TV and all this. So I mean, look, it is important to the league for these guys to play, but I also just don't know what the alternative is. Like if you have guys who aren't at their best in the playoffs, if we're judging people historically by, okay, fine, but what did you do in the playoffs, which is complete. We talk about rings culture, like ultimate rings culture is basketball.
Yeah.
Thank you,
100%.
Michael Jordan, and the coverage of Michael Jordan. I don't know how you get around the rest thing. When you're putting $70 million into Jaylen Brown, it's important that he's able to play when you need him to play.
Even beyond just the whole rings thing of it, I think one of the criticisms of the NBA playoffs the last few years is that so many times it's injury that has tilted things one way or another. I see people discounting every single Golden State Warriors championship because they can name a star on another team that got hurt. And I'm like, well, if we're doing this, you can go back through history. And nobody's won a legitimate championship.
Right. The Lakers have won like an extra 7 titles because, James Worthy is hurt and Malone and Malone got hurt. Like you could do this all day.
You can do it with every single person. So you're right. I mean, I think it's one of those things where what is good for the league and its fans versus what is good for the teams are sort of at loggerheads right now. And I'm with you. I don't know how we get around that.
But I mean, as a Laker fan, like they're trying it with, the mid-season tournament is designed to make my kids start to get interested in basketball. It's not going to work, but it's worth it. Like I heard you mention you have some. I have a 13-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
Okay.
The idea is that this thing, which is a weird and kind of dumb gimmick to me, I'm not anti, but I can't make myself care about the midseason tournament. But if it's still around in 10 years, they might look at it as something normal and like, oh, it's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting. The NBA will tweak it to make it seem more interesting, but it's not for me. That's how I feel about it. But it is designed to get 4 more games on the calendar where Anthony Davis is not allowed to sit. LeBron James can't sit those games. Like, you got to play because we are highlighting this stuff on the schedule. Right.
But I feel like, and I guess I get that to a point, but shouldn't that be what the All-Star break is, what the All-Star game is? That should be the showcase to get those guys involved. Is that not working? I understand it. It's very gimmicky, and I think it's all fun and games until someone actually gets hurt in this end-season tournament in a game that, for all intents and purposes, doesn't matter. And now, like, you are shorthanded somebody important for your playoff run.
It matters as much as a regular game against, like, the Lakers open on the 10th. By the way, I sort of knew it when they started talking about this. You forget how early in the season this is. Their Lakers' first game with this is November 10th. There are games on November 3rd in the NBA that count for the midseason tournament. November 3rd is like the second week of the season. So, I mean, they're trying to make this be, they always say the NBA season doesn't start until Christmas. Like, they're trying to make this stuff more interesting, but the Lakers are they going to try any harder than they would against Phoenix on November 10th than they would have anyway? Because the game still counts. At least they didn't make it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sort of with you. This just seems sort of gimmicky and everything. And like I said earlier, I think it'd be cool if the players sort of got to form their own teams, and then you had that sort of tournament kind of thing happen.
For that, yeah.
Like, I think that would be cool. But if you're going to tell me that the Lakers are playing Phoenix, I'm like, well, I've seen this before. I know how this goes. Like, why is this any different than any other regular season game?
All right, Wheel of Questions coming up next. The 2:00 call of the day. We'll do the fantasy football thing. If nothing else, I've got questions.
Okay.
And people must do that to you all the time. Like this time of year, like just.
I get, I hear from people that I haven't heard from like all year long. and I just get a random text message just like, hey, so my draft is in like 15 minutes. Like, what should I do?
Yeah.
I get that a lot. Yeah.
Or you just get like names of players with a question mark. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like my Twitter feed is just like, hey, so somebody offered me this guy for that guy. Should I do it?
You don't even say hi first or anything?
Oh, no. But here's like, I actually kind of I'm like, don't small talk me because I know what you're here for. Like, let's not pretend. Let's just get on with it.
So we'll do that. We got some interesting turns in the whole Blindside story. I've got a hat problem I need to be helped with. Plenty to cover between now and 4 o'clock. Brian Kamenetsky and Marcus Grant in for the guys, 710 ESPN.
Hey, ESPN LA listeners, it's John Ireland. You want to play golf with me and corporate Greg Bergman? You can, thanks to Terranea. If you listen to the show, you know Terranea is my favorite place in the world. It's like going to Hawaii without getting on a plane. Well, you can play golf with Bergman and I at the links at Terranea, and then we'll buy you lunch. Here's how you win. Send a video of your golf swing to @ESPN Los Angeles on Instagram or on Twitter. We'll take a look at your golf swing. If you impress us, you'll be playing golf at Terranea with me and Bergman, and then we'll buy you lunch. And you can eat, all you can drink. We don't care. We're not paying.
For Wheel of Questions. Producer Brian Cohen, are you ready with that wheel? Hit it, Jack.
Ooh, okay. Now, do I can actually?
I
pull it out?
I
You
will
have to
give you the
pull it
question.
out. All
Okay.
right.
So, Oppenheimer director also directed the Batman Dark Knight series. Christopher Nolan was on the Rich Eisen show when he was asked this by Rich.
What is your remote drop movie, Christopher? Wherever you're watching television and you see a film that is a favorite of yours.
I haven't heard the remote drop as a phrase. That's a fantastic one.
There you go.
Yeah, I love it. And there are so many. I mean, I flick around, and if there's an old movie playing, I mean, God, anything by Kubrick, it's a remote drop. But some of the great comedies too. And I mean, Talladega Nights. I'm never going to be able to switch that off.
Okay, now then. Really?
What?
The Ballad of Ricky Bobby is a Christopher Nolan mic drop movie. Is that what you're saying?
If you ain't first, you're last.
So, what's your remote dropper movie? What's the movie that, you drop to everything you're doing just to watch from beginning to end or even from middle to end?
Before we get to there, I want to make sure we point out the moment in that interview is the best. In that question is the best part where there's like that 1001, 1002, where Eisen, you're checking your papers, you're doing whatever, you're listening to your producer, whatever. And there was like, wait a minute, did he just say
Talladega Nights?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Like, hold on.
Yeah. The answer kicked in. What's yours?
For me, it's become Ford versus Ferrari. That's
Wow.
I was
That's a
trying
really
to think
good
of what it
choice.
was before. It was probably like Kill Bill or a Quentin Tarantino movie or something like that. But now it really is Ford versus Ferrari. When I see it, it's like, well, this is what I'm doing for the next however long. Like, it's that good.
And it's fun. Like, first of all, that's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the performances are really good. It's got racing in it, which makes it. I think the formula here is it doesn't necessarily have to be the best movie ever made.
No.
It's a certain kind of movie. It's one where it's fun to watch. It's got a bunch of really good scenes that you can point at, but you can also tune out of it for 15 minutes while it's on.
And you can come back and like you haven't really. I mean, you might have missed, but you haven't missed much, right? Like you can pick up where you left off.
Yeah, because we live in a world now. Like you can't literally stop everything.
Not anymore.
Every time you scroll through and you're in a movie you like is on, like that really hurts your productivity. And Ford versus Ferrari is probably on
a lot.
I mean, like 3 or 4 times a day if you're
it's
looking for
rolling
it.
pretty consistently.
Yeah, they're Goodfellas, or if you're a Godfather person. Godfather's 3 hours long. Mm-hmm. You can't just stop working.
And if it's on TBS or anything, it's 5 hours.
It's like
With
5
commercials.
And if it's the anthology where they stitch the whole thing together,
that's your whole day.
right. I mean, you can't just like ignore your children for that.
I mean, I guess you could. I wouldn't recommend it.
But that's it. Ford versus Ferrari is a really good choice. What do you guys got?
Anything Casino, Goodfellas, and then Don't Laugh at Me, Audience, or whatever. But hood classics like Master P's, I Got the Hookup, and Dr. Dre's, I Got the Wash. The Wash.
The Wash.
I love that. You know about that, Marcus?
I mean, I can't say that I am well versed in The Wash, but I am aware of its existence as a film.
I just saw it recently again. It was so good.
How come you didn't ask me if I was aware of it?
You don't remember The Wash. You don't remember The Wash.
Brian, do you stop and is that your remote drop movie, Brian? I assume it's The Wash.
I don't think I've ever
Dr.
seen
Dre
it, actually.
classic.
Yeah, I'm missing out.
How come nobody ever asked me that? Why? I mean, it's,
I'm waiting for him to be like, yeah, no,
wondering.
it's totally Wash.
because I'm Jewish.
I'm waiting for Brian to drop like a Soul Plane or something like that.
I think
Snakes
for
on
me,
a plane, maybe.
Snakes on a Plane.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a
Absolutely.
watchable
That's
movie.
good
that is you always
Shout
gotta
out
watch
Jeff
What
that.
else? What about you, Brian?
I'm kind of thinking more like the Meet the Parents.
Okay.
Something like that.
That's a good one.
Little Ben Stiller. Every time it's on, I'll watch it through the end of wherever part I catch it. Gets me every time.
Yeah, I like that. You know what? In terms of like bad movies that are incredibly entertaining that I stop and watch, The Fifth Element. Bruce Willis, Mila Jovovich.
I feel like I need to watch that.
Chris
again
Tucker
from
had an
start to
awesome
finish.
performance in that one.
He's phenomenal. Like that is I mean, it's not a great movie. It's
Right.
all over
It's probably a
the
better
place, but-
performance than Smokey from Friday.
Yeah. Is it?
I'm going to go on a limb and say that.
So you'd put it above Rush Hour?
Oh, you know what?
and
Not Rush
Friday?
Hour. I'm not Rush Hour. Probably not.
Okay.
That's an interesting question. But like, it's a little bit about like sort of your own niche.
Yes.
With what you like there.
I've seen. So I would say that for my wife, if I could speak for her, it would be Pretty Woman. And I'd never seen Pretty Woman before we met. I have seen the whole movie, not from start to finish though, but just bits and pieces walking through the room because she will watch it every time it's on.
I missed with my kids the first 7 minutes or 8 minutes or 12 minutes of Black Panther every time. They've probably watched it 36 times. And I did the same thing as you. You're kind of in and out. You catch her, they fall asleep, you turn it off. But I couldn't get the first 8-9 minutes. Couldn't get it. So I never totally understood.
You've never seen like
the setup
the actual
with like the dead father and all these things. I
Right.
never caught that. So once I went back and was able to see the first 10 minutes of the movie, a lot more made sense.
It was cleared up for you.
Yeah.
That's good.
Is it the same way with The Wash? Like if you don't get the first like 4 minutes of The Wash, are you kind of confused?
No.
I feel like you could kind of walk in a good half hour into
Yeah,
that
you
movie and
could.
still,
Even an hour and watch.
it'd still be kind of good with what's happening there.
Yeah.
But anyway, kudos to Chris Nolan for surprising the heck out of Rich Eisen with the.
Yeah.
with the
Aren't you
answer to
surprised
that
it wasn't
question.
like,
We
Stanley
started with
Kubrick
he
or
did
something?
start with Kubrick.
Yeah, or
He
like,
started with Kubrick.
Yeah.
And
Like
then
a Clockwork Orange or something.
You know what? I mean, look, legitimately, I would probably say that with something like Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah.
You know, I could watch Doctor Strangelove whenever it's on.
it's not a remote drop movie. Good movie.
You don't think it's a remote drop movie?
No,
Peter
not
Sellers
really.
is amazing in that movie.
It's good. It's a good movie.
You know,
There's a lot going on.
there's a lot going on.
Right. It's too much. You have to invest. It gets back to the point I was making. If you're going to watch it, you got to watch it.
Yeah.
If you're going to get something, you don't need that kind of investment to get what you need out of Ford versus Ferrari.
True. That's fair.
Yeah. So
That's fair.
I don't want my my remote drop movies got to be something where I don't have to completely, it can't be Oppenheimer.
No, you have to really lock in. You
gotta
be invested
exactly.
for Oppenheimer.
So
100%.
This question came in from Hooper's X on the Mason Ireland Mafia community post line. The conversation we were having in the last segment about the play-in. Adam Silver really missed an opportunity by not making the in-season tournament payoff a guaranteed playoff spot. That would give meaning to the whole thing that money can't. What do you think about that proposition? Automatic playoff spot for somebody who wins the mid-season tournament.
That's interesting. And I guess if you were already a playoff team, then things just roll on as before.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Lakers and you win that thing, it's
right.
like, okay, we can throw it in cruise control. Maybe our seeding matters, whatever. But if we need to, we can dial it back with LeBron and AD and whatever. And we know we're in.
How does that? I'm just playing out scenarios. How would that impact, say, the play-in tournament or something like that?
You'd have to just, at worst, if you win that thing, you're the 10th seed or something. So
you're already sort of
if
locked
you're already
in,
you're whatever. And if you're not, you bump out whoever is the 10 or something like that. We actually talked about this we made it to 152 before I referenced the podcast. On today's episode of Locked On Lakers, which you can find anywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube, we actually talked about this, and Andy made the point. The whole point of the play-in, the whole point of is to ramp up the importance of games later. If you give away one of those spots early, it defeats the whole purpose. I was like, that is a convincing argument.
It is, but I mean, you still have several other play-in spots. I mean, you haven't given all of them away. I mean, it's the same way, the NCAA tournament, right? You get, some school out of nowhere wins their conference tournament, takes that automatic bid. There are still play-in games,
right? But
you
don't determine who wins the conference tournament 4 games into the season.
That's true.
I mean, this happens really early. I mean, it'd be fun for the Houstons and the Orlandos and the whatever, because this is your best chance to get into the playoffs. Like those teams would go completely, I'm trying to think of a radio-friendly term here for playing really, really hard. Just because, the longer the season goes, the less likely you are to get in.
Playoffs.
But in November, yeah, sure, the Rockets can win 4 games when it matters or something.
The other downside to having a guaranteed playoff spot with a win is, it's up at some point if you realize you're sort of locked in to say a mid-level seed. What's your motivation to play your guys? Mm-hmm. And we just spent time talking about that. If you are the league, if you're Adam Silver, you want your stars on the floor as much as possible. If you're a mid-level team, let's say you're Utah and you are sort of locked into your spot. What's your motivation to keep playing your guys late in the season? I mean, that sort of goes away.
You just can't. It's one of these things where the problem, Champions League or whatever it is, you're taking. The incentive is we're a Premier League team and we want to prove that we're the best team on the planet.
Yes.
Or, we come from the Bundesliga and we want to prove we're the best team, whatever it is. These are matchups that can't happen. The NBA can't replicate that. So you either kind of just put it out there and people decide that it's fun, or you sort of just don't. You give it a shot and people don't care, and 5 years from now we're not doing it anymore. I don't think the NBA is in a position to. I don't know what stakes you can create because you can't pay guys enough to make fans care.
Right.
You can pay them enough maybe to make the players
I don't care if somebody gets an extra check for it.
Right.
It impacts my life not at all.
And what are you going to do? Raise a banner for winning the 5-game mid-season, 6-game mid-season tournament? That's going to become something you do?
I'm waiting for them to start selling T-shirts out in front of the arena. Hey, Lakers, in-season tournament champs.
I mean,
I don't know what you do.
They won the California Classic.
What's the incentive anyway if they win? Is it just money?
Money.
How much?
Right now it's money.
How much?
I think it's $1 million for the winning team, every player.
Well, how's that going to matter to someone like LeBron?
It doesn't. I mean, it would matter to Max Christie.
Yeah, right?
I mean, normal people care.
Would that mean
LeBron James cares about winning.
Would that mean teams like the Lakers will start playing their 8th guys or whatever in these tournaments?
What matters is the games count in the standings. They didn't if they took that away, then
you really
this is really stupid.
Yeah.
But they made it unobtrusive. The games are regular season games, so that'll work. But I mean, the money, if you make $3 million a year and somebody's going to give you an extra $1 million, that's another, 30% of your salary?
Yeah, that's
$1 million is a lot of money.
It's a good raise.
And that's a lot of money. It's only in sports where we sit there and be like, oh, it's just
$1 million.
Playing for an extra $1 million.
Right, if somebody like walked in here with a check for $1 million for me,
Life-changing.
I mean, I probably wouldn't finish the show. I'd go,
I never see you.
I'm out. Thanks, guys.
I'd be done. I appreciate the check from here. I mean, I don't think I would finish the shift.
No, I'd probably be out.
I'm gone. 877-710-ESPN is the number. It is the time for the 2 o'clock call of the day. It will be focused on fantasy sports, specifically football. I guess.
Yeah, probably just most. I mean, you can ask me fantasy like hockey or something. I wouldn't. I can make up an answer. It'll probably be like
use that your call.
Fantasy NASCAR.
Fantasy NASCAR.
Yeah, people play it. It's a thing.
Ew, yeah, I see it.
It's absolutely a thing.
There's a lid for every pot.
For every sport you can think of, there's a fantasy version of it.
So yeah, we'll get to that next. Marcus Grant, Brian Kamenetsky in for Mason Ireland 17.
After a Leagues Cup quarterfinals exit, the Black and Gold are back to MLS action and ready to continue their run for the repeat.
This is LAFC's head coach, Steve Cherundolo. It's time to run it back.
Golazo for LAFC! Sunday night, LAFC clash with the Colorado Rapids at BMO Stadium. Coverage begins Sunday night at 7 p.m.
LAFC plays here on the home of the MLS Cup champs.
710 ESPN and the ESPN LA app.
A Good Karma Brands radio station.
Hi, this is Matthew Stafford of your Los Angeles Rams. This is Mason and Ireland on your home of Rams football, 710 ESPN.
Oh, would you like to win a chance to play golf with John Ireland and Corporate Greg? Terranea Resort and ESPN LA are giving away a round of golf at the links at Terranea and lunch with Ireland and Greg. All you have to do is post a video of your golf swing on Instagram or Twitter and tag ESPN Los Angeles. So at ESPN Los Angeles. We, meaning Mason and Ireland, not me and Marcus, will review the best swings, and you could be playing golf with Ireland and Corporate Greg at the links at Terranea. 877-710-ESPN is the number. It is time for the 2 o'clock call of the day. Is this like the wheel where it's like there's a pageantry before this?
No, just start going to the calls.
All right, Jim. Oh, there is.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Listen, Marcus, I'm glad to have you with us. BK, it's nice to have you too. I'm not into fantasy though, man. It's too hard for me to live my regular life, much less having to worry about a fake life. But I do want to talk about the Lakers, and I think that they're put together well enough this year. Darvin has already got his year under him, that they really ought to do good if we can stay healthy. I know that's a big if, but I think they've got in place what they need to really be a force for good this year. What do you guys think?
I defer to you, sir.
I like the idea of them being a force for good. Like they're not just a basketball
Be
team.
the change you want to see in the world, Lakers.
Force for good.
They'll be like superheroes. They're going to win in a way that we can be proud of. I'm worried that Jim needed to take that call that was happening in the background. Because at first I thought that was a
That's
sounder,
like an
and then
office
I realized
phone.
that was just his.
That's an office phone.
He's
working
work.
in an office.
Yeah. Yeah. There's the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference. They did not get better this offseason. They got a little bit worse. Bruce Brown left and whatever. But the gap between the Nuggets and everyone else in the West was pretty significant last year. So you got the Lakers in that group, I think, with Phoenix and a healthy Clippers team if that were to ever happen, and whoever whatever sort of quasi contenders that you want to take a look at, they're in that next group. And so if you're in the next group, you can win. The Nuggets aren't so much better than everybody, whether it's the Clippers, the Warriors, the Lakers, maybe the Thunder jump into that group. We'll see what happens with the Grizzlies and Ja.
Yeah.
But they're not the best team in the conference, but if people stay healthy, they made the conference finals last year and got a little bit better this offseason.
Well, and the thing about the Western Conference last year is that it really was, I don't know what's the best way to describe it. I mean, it was sort of everybody's ball game in a way. I mean, you had Denver that was definitely above everybody else, but after that, there was so much, I think, parity among Western Conference teams. I don't know if it was necessarily good, but everybody was fairly even.
Oh, I am 100% convinced it's like, Adam Silver, like your internet speeds was throttling the rest of the Western Conference to intentionally slow them down.
Let's bring everybody back.
Bring them back, slow it down a little bit. Let's let the Lakers catch up. We need these guys to be in the play. Can't keep doing this. Can't have LeBron and AD out of the playoffs and missing. My favorite conspiracy theory in sports is the NBA hates the Lakers.
Because they've been so downtrodden over the decades, they just can't figure it out. Those poor Lakers.
We just saw I think Trudell had this in his report. Where did I just see this? That it was the Lakers this year have the largest disadvantage, or one of the largest disadvantages, of being the tired team.
So they are. So what? You were
so
explaining
in their
this,
scheduling,
right?
I just got to pull up the right window. I shouldn't have started talking about this until I was actually ready to.
If I remember, if I have it right,
here we go.
The tired team plays the day before, and where the rest of the team.
So
is
this comes from Mike Trudell and his yearly breakdown of Lakers schedule, which you can find at Lakers.com. Our friend Mike Trudell. At Lakers Reporter on Twitter if you want to, or just go to Lakers.com and you can pick up stuff there. Don't bother looking through the schedule and trying to dissect. Just go read his breakdown of it and you'll know what you need to know. The Lakers will be at an overall rest disadvantage relative to their opponents. They play 7 games when they'll be determined to be the fresh team and 12 as the tired team, plus 61 with an even designation. Fresh squads do not play the day before and the opponent does, while tired teams play the day before and the opponent does not. That is a net -5 for the Lakers. Last year, the Lakers were a +6 in this category. So they've almost gone completely in the opposite direction. We were talking about whether or not Anthony Davis and LeBron James are even going to be eligible for the awards that they're trying to win this year. This is another statistic that says maybe not.
Because obviously the league hates the Lakers. I mean, it all comes full circle.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Lakers are set to fly 44,000 miles on their Delta charter plane. That's above the league average.
That's a long way to fly, and it's above the league average. But I do think it's fair to mention that they aren't flying like you and I fly, right? I mean, unless I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you live a different life than I do. I
am kind of a baller.
I was just crammed down on a flight from Cleveland to L.A. recently. So I feel like when the Lakers fly to Cleveland, it's probably a different situation. They're not running through O'Hare trying to catch a connecting flight in the middle of the night.
You're not on Group D.
Exactly.
So what is the most? Since the 2:00 call a day about fantasy sports, I was like, oh, fantasy football, Somebody will call about that because people are probably drafting.
Yeah.
Today.
Well, we had some people on the line and it just dropped.
Where did they go?
Oh.
The segment's not over. So
yeah, there's one guy. We had one guy calling from Houston, and he just dropped.
Yeah, we're probably not doing this again.
Well, here's the thing. Like I would say that he probably shouldn't draft a lot of Texans.
Yeah,
that's my advice to him.
Who is their quarterback?
C.J. Stroud, rookie, Ohio State.
That's not going to work. What is the most common question you get asked?
It's probably who's the biggest sleeper this year. And I've done this so long that it's such a nebulous term that it means nothing anymore. But everybody's like, give me some sleepers. And I'm like, I don't know, because people study this stuff so much and talk about it. Like there's no player out there that you've never heard of anymore. Like every player is known now. So then I just give them some guy that like is like the second.
How do you define that? Like, is like for me, like a sleeper is a guy that you can take. Like I drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown last year, and that was obviously a good.
And he kind of was one last year,
right? Because it was like, you know, in the year before, the last like 2 games of the season before had a bunch of catches, and the Lions didn't really have a lot of dudes, but would be throwing a lot. I was like, okay, so I think I got him in like the 7th or 8th round or something like that.
And
like that's a sleeper.
Yeah, and I think if that's what you're looking for, there are guys out there. I mean, I joked about not drafting any Texans, but like Dameon Pierce, the Texans running back, a guy who, you know, is not really well known, but could break out and have a good season this year. So, I mean, they exist. And that is the one thing. Everybody wants a leg up. They want an advantage. They want to know, like, who's that person that nobody in my league is paying attention to that I can get and suddenly look like a genius.
I don't need you to tell me to draft Justin Jefferson.
Right. Exactly.
At least I shouldn't.
If that's what you're looking for, then you know.
My wife and I drafted a team once where we drafted it entirely based on her perception of whether or not it sounded like that player would score touchdowns. So she would say, touchdown, Justin Jefferson. And if
like
she thought that
rolled off
sounded
the
good,
tongue, so like draft Justin
but if
Jefferson.
she didn't, we wouldn't draft Jefferson.
That's a strategy right there.
Honestly,
it didn't work out very well.
I was going to say, did she win? Because that sounds like a winning strategy.
We did not have a good team.
That's like the person in your NC2A pool that's just like, you know, a Blue Devil would beat a Bruin. Sure, you know, something like that.
Brandon in L.A., is he just calling to say hi, or does he actually have a fantasy question?
Here's a question.
Okay. Go ahead, Brandon.
Okay, guys. So I have the number 1 pick in one of my leagues. I'm pretty much set on taking Justin Jefferson. My question isn't for the number 1 pick, but when it bounces back to me and I have the 2nd and 3rd round pick, should I go double running back to make up for taking a wide receiver first, or do you guys think I should take just best available, whether it's receivers, tight ends, or whatever?
I would say
you think
I would probably say thanks, but I'd say get at least one running back. You can definitely go double running backs. There'll be some good guys out there. I mean, who knows? Maybe a Breece Hall, although now he's got Dalvin Cook there. There's some running backs out there that are pretty good. I would say get at least one. Maybe you go another wide receiver. They seem to be going very early in drafts. You find that position gets hollowed out real quick.
The devaluing of the running back is like the biggest change in fantasy football of the last like 10 years, right?
It is, and it's weird because there are a handful of guys that are still great, right? Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, still really, really great. But more and more teams are using multiple running backs, and so we've sort of adjusted to that in fantasy, which is why now this year most of your first-round picks are probably wide receivers.
Right, and then you get to the almost nobody does just one running back.
Very few teams do that. Yeah, I mean, like the Chargers are one of the closest teams to doing that with Austin Eckler.
Right.
The Giants are like that with Saquon Barkley, but you could probably count on one hand the number of teams that do that now.
Yeah, my brother and I play in a PPR league where you can flex a second QB.
Okay, yeah.
So I feel like unless you get one of those dudes, like it's pointless to even look at a running back until.
Oh yeah, no, Superflex leagues like that, the quarterback position, like you'll get 8 quarterbacks off the board in the first round.
It's insane.
Because if you miss out on one and suddenly you're starting a couple of, bottom feeder teams.
That's what happened to me last year. I was like, that guy will be available when I can. No. I picked up Geno Smith, so it turned out
that
to be
worked out.
okay.
Yeah, it was good.
Who's this year's Geno Smith when I screw this up again and need a quarterback?
Anthony Richardson.
From the Colts.
The rookie from the Colts. I don't know if he's the Geno Smith. He's maybe the Justin Fields. But either way, he's a guy that is going sort of mid-rounds that has the chance to do some big things.
We do our commissioner likes to try to figure out ways to arrange the draft,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't just he won't pick it out of a hat. So we've done horse racing. Like
Okay.
everybody just gets randomly assigned a horse at
Mhm.
Saratoga in any 12
Okay, right.
horse race,
and then the
just
order that they finish.
Like
That's
we've done
yeah.
lacrosse standings. We've done all kinds of strange things.
I had some friends who did. They watched. I don't know if it was like SummerSlam or like Hell in a Cell or whatever. It was one. I'm not a big wrestling person, but it's like one where a whole bunch of wrestlers show up in the ring at one time.
Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble. That's
Yeah.
it. And everybody had a name, and basically they went from like 12 to 1. Like if your guy got eliminated first, you were 12 and then 11, and so to whoever lasted the longest in the ring, that person got the number 1 pick.
James Harden is starting to squawk a little bit in Philly. We saw
that just called
clip.
August?
Yeah, we saw that clip of him in China talking about never playing for Daryl Morey because he's a liar. A liar. He lies. He's a lying liar, tells lies. So we'll get into that. An interesting twist in this Blindside story with Michael Orr and the Tui family. People are trying to take Sandra Bullock's Oscar away.
Wait, really?
Like it's her fault. This all happened. So there's plenty still to do here on the Mason Island Show. Brian Kamenetsky, Marcus Grant here. Mere Audio and Video has been serving LA's sports fans for more than 40 years. Why? Because Isaac and Roy and the team at Mere can deliver for you products and services that others just don't offer. You want the brand new spectacular 98-inch Samsung QLED for football? Of course you do. Mere's got it. Or do you want to finally redesign your backyard for the ultimate entertainment space? You got to go with Mere. Everything from sleek outdoor lighting to amazing sound for your outdoor speakers to one-touch control over your pool and jacuzzi. I have both of those. How about designing and installing your outdoor theater? They can do that too at Mere. Mere can do all of those things. And most important, you get world-class customer service. You know, when you call some big company, they throw you to that automated mess. That's not going to happen with Mere. You call Isaac or Roy, pick up. And just like that, you are taken care of. So do like we do and call Mere Audio Video today, 310-234-4010. That's 310-234-4010, or check them out at mereaudiovideo.com. Mason, Ireland, 710 ESPN.
After a League's Cup quarterfinals exit, the Black and Gold are back to MLS action and ready to continue their run for the repeat.
This is LAFC's head coach, Steve Cherundolo. It's time to run it back.
Go Lasso for LAFC! Sunday night, LAFC clash with the Colorado Rapids at BMO Stadium. Coverage begins Sunday night at 7 p.m.
LAFC plays here on the home of the MLS Cup champs.
710 ESPN and the ESPN LA app.
Hey, ESPN LA listeners, it's John Ireland. You want to play golf with me and corporate Greg Bergman? You can, thanks to Terranea. If you listen to the show, you know Terranea is my favorite place in the world. It's like going to Hawaii without getting on a plane. Well, you can play golf with Bergman and I at the links at Terranea, and then we'll buy you lunch. Here's how you win. Send a video of your golf swing to @ESPN Los Angeles on Instagram or on Twitter. We'll take a look at your golf swing. If you impress us, you'll be playing golf at Terranea with me and Bergman, and then we'll buy you lunch. And you can all you can eat, all you can drink. We don't care. We're not paying.
I just realized I'm responsible for the game today, and I've not written down the questions. So
whatever, we'll just wing it.
I need
That's
to start
fine.
doing that during breaks. Be sure to join 710 for our ultimate tradition. I keep doing that. For our summer tradition at Hollywood Park Casino, the ultimate fantasy football draft party. Tomorrow, starting at 4 p.m. at Hollywood Park Casino, join Beto Duran, Kirk Morrison, DeMarco Farr, Marcus Grant, that's you, producer Lindsay Baseball, Corporate Greg, and Morales. Just Morales.
Just Morales.
Just Morales.
Yeah.
Live for a party. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. at Hollywood Park Casino. Hollywood Park Casino, eat, drink, draft. Yeah, so 340 is Game of Games, and it is my game. And I came up with a topic, and I have the information, but I do have to write down the questions, or it's going to be a complete and total
minor details.
wreck. So what's up, fool? What's up, fool? Coming up at 2:40.
Yes, sir.
Time for that.
We both
Harden.
look at fun just like, is that what it is?
Yeah.
That was as much a question as it was
a statement.
A statement for the audience. So thank you for that. James Harden is fascinating to me.
Okay.
Because in the we live in a new world, new CBA, all this stuff. He's clearly not a garbage player.
Right.
He's still really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But he comes with tremendous risk. He's clearly a colossal pain in the butt. Like every year now, he wants to be traded. He's not happy here. He wants to go somewhere else, whatever it might be. And he's not super reliable.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Would you agree?
That's fair.
Am I being unfair to James Harden?
That's not, I mean, we were talking before the show about, the fat suit, the stuffing of the shirt, whatever it was, where he showed up super beefy.
Right. He seems less than dedicated to taking to the craft of.
Like on the one hand, you have
body,
LeBron, who's
right.
very dedicated to taking care of himself, and then there's James Harden, who
and the beard is not slimming. In fairness, like
it is not.
If you've seen the clips of him calling Daryl Morey a liar and all these other things, in the background is this picture of Harden. He's like crouched down in like an athletic stance or whatever. But because of the way the beard is, like into his chest, he's kind of turtling his face where he has no neck. And he looks like he's about 635 pounds. Like, have you seen those things where the AI, they do like make presidents into, wrestlers? Mm-hmm. They did make NBA players fat guys from the Y.
So that's James Harden right now. And it
didn't look that different.
Every so often, just to remind myself, I go back and look at him from Arizona State when he didn't have the beard. And then I'm kind of like, oh, I remember now why he has the beard. He was a good player. He didn't have a chin, and so at least growing the beard gave him a chin, artificial as it may be. He looks better.
Artificial chin. He looks. I'm going to Google. I've forgotten what he looks like without a beard.
Yeah, I mean, he was a wholly different guy when he was
Harden,
when he was at Arizona State. It doesn't look anything like the guy we see now.
Oh my God!
Right?
Wow.
Yes.
He was chunky then, though.
He was a little bit. Although I think it's the ASU uniforms. He wore the T-shirt underneath, and I think they just had kind of baggy.
A bit more baggier too.
Yeah, they have baggy uniforms.
There is something to that though, because there are uniforms that make you look slower, like the New York Jets.
Yes.
I don't care if you run a 4.2.
You just don't look.
You put that uniform. Yeah. You look slow.
Is it green? Because it's green.
I think it's the green with the white stripes.
Maybe. Which is weird because you would think a team called the Jets would look fast.
You would think that.
You would think so.
It would stand to reason.
It makes sense.
But so Harden is he's now at war with Daryl Morey and the Philadelphia 76ers, and he has answered the question. He apparently is being reported that he told the Philadelphia Inquirer that every time I come here, meaning China, the love is just like, it's crazy. You know what I mean? So I feel like they deserve to actually see me come play here. The love is always crazier. This is asked, like, would you ever go play with a Chinese team?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's under contract next year, like with the Sixers.
Right.
But what I find kind of interesting about this, like we've seen, was it Neymar just went to Saudi Arabia, another club over there for like $120 million a year. And Ronaldo went over there.
Yeah, and then was it Mbappe? I think turned down a bunch of money. I think to go over there.
300 million.
Right.
I think they turned. He turned down. They offered it to Messi. I think, and Messi turned it down.
Came to Miami.
For, by the way, it should be noted, an awful lot of money.
An awful lot of money.
Not Saudi money, but a lot.
It's funny. I think James Harden, if he decides to follow through on this threat, I don't know how he would do it and goes to China. It would sort of be, I won't say it's like Messi coming to Miami, but I think he'd outclass everybody in that league.
He'd score 75 points a game.
He would outclass everybody in the league.
It's not even close. That. I mean, he would dominate. And the love, it's always crazy there.
Right.
This is coming, though, right? Like, at some point, it's not going to be James Harden going to China.
No.
And it's not going to be the Saudi Arabian basketball league, which I'm not even sure exists.
But it
poaching
could be.
a player, probably.
It could be.
But it's coming in some way, shape, or form. Probably starting with, because Ronaldo is like 34 now.
He's nearing the end of his career.
So you take a guy like James Harden, who, after this year, is certainly not going to be paid, max contract anymore. And, but you're a team in, Europe or, Australia or China or wherever, or Saudi Arabia or whatever it might be, and you have the money and your league allows it to throw $150 million a year at James Harden to come be the star of your league or some other player like him, like, this is going to come to the NBA.
Yes. Absolutely, it's going to come to the NBA. And I think what is different is this will just be straight cash, homie, to quote the great Randy Moss, right? Like, I think when you saw, say, David Beckham come over here and play in MLS, it was partially about the money. It was also partially just about the marketing opportunity. It was him and his wife coming over here. They could move to Los Angeles. They could live in Beverly Hills. They could market themselves in America. This would just be about, literally Saudis or whoever saying to fill in the player, we are going to give you a dump truck full of cash to come play for us. And it won't even be necessarily about marketing, because if you're an American athlete, you have done that. You have gone down that road. This is just about stacking chips at this point. And yeah, you will get plenty of people to come take you up on that offer.
And it's just a matter, right, of, okay, 100's not enough. How about 120?
And they'll just keep upping the number until you say yes.
Like, it worked for Live Golf.
Absolutely worked for Live Golf. And Live Golf kind of won. They end up with they sort of won. And so that's the blueprint.
Yeah, I mean, if you're one of these PGA guys who didn't go take the money, I assume you're kind of pissed.
Rory was salty for a long time. He probably still is salty about it.
Yeah, because those guys, and they talked about, we want to improve the game, and this is about, it's about somebody giving you $80 million, $100 million.
A lot of those guys tried to stand on principle, and I guess I respect that. But in the end, it was, it was about money.
How much? Because NBA salaries are going up. AD is going to be in that $62, $63 million range by the end of his extension. I think Jaylen Brown's gets up to about 70. The next one of these next year, it's going to be over 70. We're not that far from someone in the next 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years signing a contract where the end of that deal gets them close to $100 million. So how much money do you think it would cost to take a guy? How much more than your NBA salary do you think you'd have to get to go? Like, what type of player makes that jump?
I think it's not your top end NBA stars, right? At least not yet. It's not your elite guys. It's a guy who is probably above average. He's, made a couple of All-Star games, maybe made a playoff appearance or two, nearing the end of his career, but still has enough left in the tank to sort of be a bit of a draw. I'm scrolling through just trying to think of guys.
James
Harden, right? I mean, a guy like maybe a few years from now, like a Karl Anthony Towns, like somebody like that, right? You just throw a bunch of money at him. We're going to triple, quadruple your salary. Come on over. You can be a star here. We'll set you up in the best places to live. All of that. It's hard to say no to that.
I just, especially for a guy like Harden, who, and I'm using Harden here in both the literal and sort of figurative terms, like the representative James Harden. He's not. How important is it to Harden that he win a title? Like, really? Certain guys, it matters. You can tell it really matters. Like, they will be angry. They leave their careers and they're upset.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think when you're James Harden at this point, and you see him constantly team hopping and wanting trades, that doesn't necessarily signal I'm trying to build and win a championship. I mean, that's mercenary.
Well, you pass through that place where you can be the guy who leads the title, and now you have to be the guy who kind of finds your Joel Embiid, or
Right.
LeBron is actually that guy now. He needs to find his Anthony Davis or whatever it is. The reaction that we're going to get from this, what kind of league it's going to be, what kind of owner, because the NBA is aware of the sort of Saudi money threat.
It's hard to not be
right
now. And I'm curious as to where, which of the major American sports leagues sort of gets infiltrated, for lack of a better term, first. And I mean, I would say the NBA seems like it's sort of ripe for something
golf.
like that. They bought golf.
They own golf.
Right. I mean, so I would say of the big three, right? MLB, NBA, NFL, the NBA seems like it's the one that's most ripe to have something like this happen. And it won't be a full league takeover. It'll be they buy a percentage of a team. And then they maybe expand that percentage, and then a different group comes in and gets a part of another team, and it'll just solely be like suburban sprawl, right? That just sort of generally creeps across the league.
There's that push-pull that's always there, because the more the franchise values go up, the more the players can make.
Yep.
Like, there's more revenue coming in. There's all these other things, so the cap goes up, guys. And so where players and owners choose to draw the line between, okay, that revenue boost we say yes to, that one we say no to, and maybe it's politics, maybe it's just sort of the mechanics of not wanting to give away too much ownership to foreign entities generally, whatever it is, at some point, like you were saying before, Marcus, the pile of money
just becomes
so big.
And I mean, if you are the league, whatever league, you can make the argument, well, hey, look, if we have Saudi ownership, right, that means we can expand and market the game there, which means more eyeballs, which means more television revenue, and like the wheel just keeps on spinning and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just,
Funchy, you joking that if somebody come in and like offer to buy the Cowboys,
how
many billions would that be?
Like 20, probably $20 billion. Yeah, because I think they're worth like 10 right now, right? Forbes came out.
Jerry Jones is already Scrooge McDucking on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm sure he has a money pit,
diving into a vault of money.
Exactly.
I can imagine.
It's coming, and I am fascinated by this sort of thing, and this soccer. Every sport should be paying attention to what happens here. Listen to the afternoon show today, starting at 4 p.m. It's going to be Andy and Ramona for a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Angels game on Monday night against the Reds. You'll be going to the game with Cappy, producer Lindsay Baseball, and Morales. They are sending those people everywhere. Like Morales and Lindsay Baseball are going everywhere.
Everywhere.
Your chance to win this afternoon from 4 to 7 p.m. thanks to Coors Light. Keeping Southern California chill all season long. What's Up, Foo, coming up in about 10 minutes, 710 ESPN.
Hey, ESPN LA listeners, it's John Ireland. You want to play golf with me and corporate Greg Bergman? You can, thanks to Terranea. If you listen to the show, you know Terranea is my favorite place in the world. It's like going to Hawaii without getting on a plane. Well, you can play golf with Bergman and I at the links at Terranea, and then we'll buy you lunch. Here's how you win. Send a video of your golf swing to @ESPN Los Angeles on Instagram or on Twitter. We'll take a look at your golf swing. If you impress us, you'll be playing golf at Terranea with me and Bergman, and then we'll buy you lunch. And you can eat, all you can drink. We don't care. We're not paying.
Mason Island Show, Brian Kamenetsky, Marcus Grant in for the guys. Be sure to join Marcus tomorrow, Hollywood Park Casino. He's going to be part of the big fantasy thing.
Yeah, come yell at me and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right. Why should you ruined my draft last
Basically,
year? I
yeah.
took your advice. Do people, like, I assume when you write something, tell them something on NFL, like all that stuff, if it doesn't work.
Yeah, you hear about it.
Yeah.
You hear about it. I've been doing this long enough. You sort of learn to ignore it. The best way, honestly, is just to get out ahead of it and just say, you know what, I screwed up. Like I swung and missed.
What is the worst consequence you've apparently, like I drafted this guy and I had like 80, this was a $10,000 league and I lost, you owe me $35,000.
I fortunately have not gotten a lot of that. I just get people calling me nasty names on Twitter. That's about it.
No, it's just being on Twitter.
That's just being on Twitter, right?
It's Robert De Niro's 80th birthday today. So happy birthday to Robert De Niro.
Recent father, Robert De Niro.
That's right.
That is crazy.
Like Al Pacino had a kid and Bobby D was like, hey, man, I can't be left out here.
I hate that.
What?
Old people having babies. Like
also,
that.
Mick Jagger just recently had one, too.
Yep.
I mean, because didn't Larry King have another kid like very late in his life?
He just had one.
It's been dead for 5 years. Come on.
I'm just saying. He's that virile. I don't like that. I don't think, I think
it's unfair to the mother of the child.
It's unfair to the mother. I mean, granted,
and the
they
child,
can afford
the child itself.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's unfair to the kid. That,
right.
How much Robert De Niro is that baby going to get?
I mean, that child will know Robert De Niro the way we do, like through film and television. Like that's it. It'll be like, that's my dad. I have no connection to him other than, you talking to me? Like that's it. That's how I know my dad.
Yeah, not a bad connection.
So like my youngest will be 5 in October. So I was 41 when we found out she was coming. I think that's about right, give or take.
Okay.
44. Much older than that. Like I think we're starting to get into.
No, I mean I'm with you because
I've
done the math. When my son turns 18, I will be 60, and like that feels like that's good enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the math on that starts to become kind of scary. Then you start adding in college, and you start like, how long do I need to be able to make a living? Particularly when you work in media,
right?
So how much time do you spend thinking about that?
Well,
that ain't fun.
Now it's going to be a whole lot. Thanks. I hadn't really thought about it that way.
None before today. But like at 80, you should not be having kids at 80. You guys remember Strom Thurmond?
Yes.
The senator?
South Carolina, I believe, yeah.
9 years old or whatever.
His kid lived at the end of my hall my freshman year in college.
Wow.
It was one of those type of deals.
Wow.
Where like Strom Thurmond was having babies with different women like all over, like, but this kid lived at the end of my hall.
Wow.
Like, so I knew one of these dudes who had like the 90-year-old dad.
That's just weird.
Yeah, it's creepy.
That's creepy.
Yeah, I don't like it. Best Robert De Niro role other than War on Grandpa.
I've never seen that movie. Is that good?
Obviously, it's his best
he's
role.
the best
Brian
role,
just
right?
said it's his best role. It must be good. I think it's easy. It's easy to go Goodfellas or Taxi Driver. For me, I'm going to go Rupert Pupkin in The King of Comedy. Which, thank you. Which, Brian over here looks very confused. By the way. I'll say this: have you seen Joker with the Joaquin Phoenix?
Oh yeah.
The original one was the King of Comedy. He is Joker without all the makeup and the face paint and stuff, but it's the same basic story, just told a little bit better. Go watch the King of Comedy,
I don't think I've ever seen
and
that.
then
I'll
watch
check that
Joker, and you'll see that one is super. And it's funny because Robert De Niro appears in Joker as the talk show host or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, he basically is the Joker character. As a guy named Rupert Pupkin, a failed comedian who just wants some attention and needs some love and sort of.
That is a spectacular.
Yeah.
But like you go back, I'm looking at this. Like you go Mean Streets, Godfather 2, Taxi Driver, New York, and then then you have The Deer Hunter and Raging Bull and King of Comedy. There are a couple other little things in here in between. Once Upon a Time in America, but like, oh my God,
there's so much.
Then it gets to The Untouchables, which I think is a little overrated, and it's like kind of an over the top performance.
It's over the top. I mean, like everybody loves or remembers him taking a bat to somebody.
But it's, that's a stretch from like 73 to 87.
He was really good in Jackie Brown.
Oh,
he was very good in Jackie Brown as Lewis. Yes,
I'll give another one. Midnight Run.
Midnight Run's amazing.
I still got to see that movie.
Oh my God, that's
hilarious.
I've been wanting to watch that movie too.
Movies of all time.
Hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious.
Cape Fear. He's kind of fun in Cape Fear.
Yeah, that's another one that's sort of over the top.
Right.
Though.
It's silly fun.
He's very over the top.
Wag the Dog. He's excellent. I'm trying to think. Like the harder question here is like you must name something after like 1995 because there's a lot of trash.
Heat was Heat after 95?
Yeah, the whole Meet the Parents saga.
Heat was
because Casino was 95. Heat was 95 also. So
maybe I might have to push it up to 97 then, just to make it
because
hard.
like The Fan in 96, The Fan is trash.
Yep,
The Fan is awful. One of the worst movies I've ever seen. Legitimately.
Well, there's what I'm waiting for. What's the Harrison Ford show on Apple?
Shrinking?
Yes.
Yes.
Is a great show to watch, because it's really good, but it's also a reminder of what Harrison Ford looks like when he cares.
Okay.
It's a reminder because there have not been very many of those. He cared in the new Blade Runner reboot.
Yeah.
Like that was one he was taking seriously. This is a role that he's taking seriously.
Okay.
He's invested in, and it's really good. And De Niro needs kind of some of those.
I mean,
Killers of the Flower Moon could end up that.
He's 80, so not to
80
be morbid, like I don't know how many more swings he's going to get at it,
He's worried about parenting.
That part too.
He's tired.
That also would be why he keeps working. Like he's got a kid to support.
Did he not save anything?
I mean, he's got like a whole film festival, right?
I don't know. I think, but congratulations on the.
I do think it's funny that if you go to his IMDb page and it has the movies that he's known for, and the first one on the list is Cape Fear, and I'm like, I enjoyed that movie, but that's not the first movie I think of when I think of Robert De Niro.
No, it is not.
I mean, Raging Bull's right behind it, Taxi Driver's right there. Like I would have put those ahead of Cape Fear for movies I think of him.
How does that work? Is it just the algorithm spitting stuff out?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if like fans can upvote it. I don't know if it's like a Reddit thing. I have no idea. Is there somebody
sitting there at like a table making these choices?
Just Wikipedia, like people can just edit it. I have no idea how that works.
Do people even remember Cape Fear at this point? Brian,
I
you're
don't.
a youth.
No.
How old are you?
29.
Okay.
And it was a remake of like there's an original Cape Fear back in the 60s, I think, with like Robert Mitchum in it. And then they remade it with Robert De Niro as, spoiler alert, he's the bad guy in the whole thing.
It's your statute.
Come out wherever you are. Like it's just him with a really terrible, exaggerated like Florida accent.
If I watch that movie now, am I going to like it?
Probably not. I don't know that it holds up necessarily. But it was good at the time. It was
a really good movie at the time.
Yeah, I don't know that it holds up.
But in my brain, Cape Fear, that's a fun movie. I liked it. It's a good, and De Niro's really good.
Now, I did rewatch Heat recently, and that holds up for sure.
That holds up incredibly well.
Yes.
Are they really making a Heat 2?
There's a book.
Yeah, there's a book, but they're not making a movie, right?
I don't believe so. But who knows? Maybe.
Yeah. Did you guys see The Irishman?
I tried.
Did you guys try to do it in one shot?
No, I didn't even pretend. And I got to the part where, the de-aged Robert De Niro is like trying to beat somebody up and he's like trying to kick a guy. And like you can just tell he looks like he's 70-something years old. He's stiff and it's uncomfortable. And I got secondhand embarrassment and I just turned it off.
I made it through, I think, a half hour.
I was right there.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's like 1/12 of the movie.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I really tried, and I think I restarted it like 3 times, and it just never happened.
How often do you go to theaters now?
Well, in the summer when I have a little more time, I've gone a few times, and I go see movies that I know my wife has no interest in seeing. So like I can go see like Across the Spider-Verse. I can go see like a Marvel movie. I can go see like an anime because I know she doesn't care. So like I can go like on a Tuesday after. I love going to a Tuesday matinee where it's me and like 5 senior citizens. Like that's what I love. And I'll go and like I'll get my popcorn. I'll sit in the last row. If I go to one of the theaters where I can have a beer, that's the best. So I can say I've gone like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
this
I like
summer.
movies. They start at like 10.
Like PM or AM?
AM.
Okay,
no,
yeah.
Like you reach like it's like I didn't even know when I was 24
that they started
had
movies
screenings
before
at 9:45 a.m. for anything other than like a Star Wars release where they're at, but like no, like a regular movie.
Yeah.
Like you can just go see any movie you want
whenever you want.
9:45 in the morning.
It's great. Which I always wondered if there's a showing where no one has bought tickets, do they still run the movie?
Yes.
They do.
I was thinking about that because I got tickets to see the new movie Stray tonight that comes out. The Will Ferrell, talking dogs.
Yeah.
And I was looking at movie tickets last night, and there was quite a few completely empty. Yeah. So I was wondering
I think they have to because in case somebody
just
buys
because
right
somebody might show up right and just buy a ticket. That's
wild.
But I always wondered that more about plays.
I love matinee. Yeah, that would be
like if nobody buys a ticket to your play.
That would be an ego blow, right? Like destroy your ego, right? Like you're out here just running lines.
You still have to do the play, don't you?
You have a showtime set.
The show must go on.
You've rented the theater. You bought costumes. You might as well do it.
But
that would destroy you.
If you were the only person who showed up for a live theater show, would you stay or would you go?
I would stay. Could you heckle? Could you make it interactive
I would
at
be
that
too
point?
Uncomfortable. I would have to leave. I need at least somebody else to be in the
That would be even more uncomfortable than walking out as they're doing it.
I would
that's
apologize.
even worse.
No, I would just do it before it starts. Be like, I'm sorry. I can't handle this pressure being the only person.
I'm sure you guys are wonderful at your jobs. I just can't be here right now.
I can't have you acting at me for the next 2 hours. I am a little concerned I'm the only person here, but it's too uncomfortable to have them doing all this just for you.
Yeah. I don't know, but you're a father. I mean, at some point, haven't your children just performed merely just for you? You're sort of a captive audience.
I didn't buy a
point.
Ticket for that. And it's not awkward. I mean, it can be awkward, but I know I wouldn't if they were doing that on stage. I wouldn't necessarily expect anybody to stay. I mean, I love watching my little girl sing Frozen, Let It Go, but
you wouldn't.
People don't need that.
You wouldn't expect other people to do that,
right? Certainly, I just be too uncomfortable. What's up, Foo? Coming up next, Brian Kamenetsky, Marcus Grant in for Mason Ireland, 710 ESPN.
It's around 2:45 in the Southland. You know what we do each weekday at 2:45. What's up, fool? And we've been very excited that What's Up, Fool is made possible by our friends at Dos Hombres. In fact, we've got a special guest voice. Take it away, guest voice.
What's Up, Fool is brought to you by Dos Hombres Mezcal. It's fate. It's friendship. It's Mezcal. Dos Hombres.
Look at that. How do I follow that? I don't. So I simply say, take it away, Corporate Greg.
In this case, it's take it away, Brian Kamenetsky and Marcus Grant, and I will say, take it away, Brian.
Yeah, I got you
What's
guys
up,
today.
fool?
Started off. So I saw this the other day. Lamar Jackson said he's going to be adding routes he finds on social media to the Ravens playbook this season. And it got me thinking, Is there anything that you guys see on social media that you have added to your daily routine or to your daily life?
Nothing that I've added to my daily life. I learn a lot of random things on TikTok, though.
Like little hacks?
Just like little,
things like
little life hacks. Like things I was looking at like I had a super mundane or whatever, but like I had a paper towel rack, and then like I saw a thing on TikTok where like you can just, instead of sitting it on your counter, like you could just hang it from a shelf. Like it blew my mind. It was like
you never think of that.
It's like the dumbest thing ever.
But there's a site for that. There's like a channel, like Instagram,
like life hack site or something like that.
I was this many years old when I found.
Yeah, I got like today years old when I found stuff like that out. Like I learned a lot of random stuff like that on TikTok for sure.
I saw one that taught me how to, like when you have a rug, especially if it's not a really good one, and like the corner curls up.
Right.
You take like a bowl, fill it with ice, put it on like the edge or something like that, like let it melt, and then it
Science, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Science, yo. I get that. Like, yeah, those are the kind of things I think I've pulled from social media.
Yeah, and now I'm into animal videos, like animals doing adorable things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of my son loves nature videos, so I spend a lot of time watching, like animals on the savannah in Africa.
Yeah. Hedgehogs are having a moment.
Are they?
Hedgehogs?
They're the new llama.
The new llama,
and sloths.
Wait, what happened to the old llama?
They're still there, but they're just not as popular anymore. Like llamas were really the thing for a little while, and sloths were a thing for a little while. Now hedgehogs are having a moment. They're super cute, and they're very little. They're much smaller than you think.
What's up, Foo?
All right, guys. I just saw Jalen Hurts sign a deal with Jordan Brand, and I'm really jealous because I want to deal with Jordan Brand. And it got me to thinking, what brands or companies I would love to endorse me or whatever for a lifetime deal or whatever. I guess the irresponsible me would say Nike or Jordan Brand to represent me for a lifetime deal. But I guess the adult me or whatever, the responsible guy in me says Jaguar or Rolex. So if you can sign one lifetime deal,
how's Rolex responsible?
I don't know. It's just worth money.
Wait, what?
It's worth money.
Right.
I'm not thinking
I do
small.
love watches.
Yeah, I do like watches. So, if you can sign a lifetime deal with a brand or company, what would it be, Brian?
Hey.
And are they paying me money, or is it like part of the appeal here that I get
you get the free stuff? Yeah,
right.
It'd probably be an airline or a hotel. It's something like that, so I can always fly and travel for free.
Yeah.
Or booking.com, where it's comprehensive. Because if you just get the airline, you might not get the hotel.
You might not get a hotel.
Or a rental car.
You want the whole shebang.
I want the whole thing.
That's not bad. I was thinking something similar. I was thinking like an oil company, because I just want
free gas.
Free gas, man.
Oil. I just want to roll around in that.
I just want to roll. I just need some crude in my, fill a swimming pool full of it. I just want free gas. That's all. I don't feel like that's asking too much.
Arco.
Young Brian, who you want to endorse you?
Yeah, you asked me this the other day. My first instinct, like you, was like Nike or something like that. The shoes, the clothes. But then thinking about it, I think I'd go Tesla. Let me get all that high-end stuff, the free cars. They'll send me to the moon one day. Who knows?
You might get the first flying car.
I don't know if I trust Elon to send me to the moon.
I don't trust Elon too much either, but I'll drive a Tesla for free.
All right.
You should aim higher. Just a car.
Oh yeah, don't they have a lot
need a
more
car.
stuff
You always
in
need a car.
A car and I guess a satellite. That's actually probably the most impressive thing that he does.
The satellite stuff?
Starlink stuff. Because the car thing is,
honestly, I
feel
feel like
a lot that's sort of smoke and mirrors and shadiness. But the Starlink thing is the thing that nobody talks about, but really where he exerts probably the most global control.
Tesla's, I know they're all high tech and fancy and stuff. I feel like design wise, there's nothing really special about a Tesla in terms of design and form or anything like that.
I would agree.
They're sort of basic, I think.
Also, I feel like half the people that have Teslas don't know how to drive them.
That is a thing. Tesla drivers are awful.
Yeah, seriously.
Because they're all
not
driving with no hands.
Right, exactly.
Tesla drivers are awful.
I don't have to hold on to the wheel because Elon says my car drives itself.
I also heard that they sometimes, I think they have one pedal, one for the gas and the brake. The same pedal for the gas and brake.
Because that makes sense.
Yeah, right.
Do you drive 1-footed or 2-footed?
I drive 1 foot.
1 foot, yeah.
My mom drives 2-footed.
Get out of here.
No, she's a 2-footed driver.
So For a long time, every car I owned was a stick for a really long time. And then when I got to an automatic, there was like at the beginning me like trying to like stomp with my left foot, and there was nothing there. And now I've kind of gotten over that.
What's that, fool?
Right,
I like that story. I used to drive with 2 feet and stomp my feet, and I don't anymore.
I got over it. It's fine.
That was pretty good. I saw this story yesterday, too, actually. Shaq said that he does not DJ for money, but instead he DJs to replace the Game 7 energy that he can't seem to replicate anywhere else besides music festivals. So my question to you guys, is there anything, festivals, events that get you guys that feeling of like, oh, this is, for everything kind of a deal, the Game 7 feeling?
Wow. So I guess because of what I do in my other life, there has been a giant fantasy football expo the last few years in Canton, Ohio. It takes place in and around the Pro Football Hall of Fame and has become a big deal. In fact, this past year, Des Bryant was out there. He had a flag football team that played out there,
Nice.
And like it's become like a really cool deal. So like that's been a lot of fun.
It's like the Comic-Con of fantasy.
It really kind of is the Comic-Con of fantasy football right now. So like that's been a lot of fun. So I will say that's the thing that sort of gets me fired up. Like that trip, getting from LA to Cleveland, not easy, not fun, but once you get there. Also, I get to take a trip to Waffle House. I have an unhealthy fascination with the place, and I can't get it in Los Angeles.
Is it good?
No.
I've always wanted to eat there. That's why.
But it's an experience, and that's what you go for.
And plus, I see the videos, all the fights and stuff. I want to eat. I want to be there.
Here's the thing. I will do it because, like I said, I have an unhealthy fascination with it. I'll eat it anytime. But like it takes on a certain ambiance when it's like after midnight and you're eating Waffle House.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say there's something to if you don't eat out a ton, like it's stuff costs money. It's restaurants are getting more expensive. You got a family, got expensive, whatever. I feel a lot of pressure every time, like when I go out. Like, what if I don't order the perfect thing here? Like, what's the thing that I really want?
Because it may be a while before I get another shot at this.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you have a regular person with a regular job, every time you go and like your boss talks to you, it's a Game 7 moment. During a presentation, it's like, Game 7 for you, man. You're fine. You're still gonna, your 100 million still gonna be there. I'm gonna have a job if I screw up this presentation tomorrow.
I mean, like the two people you don't ever want to hear say, "Hey, we need to talk." It's your significant other and your boss.
Well, this, like, when you're getting fired from something, like when somebody who normally does not reach out to you reaches out.
Hey, we need to talk.
Or just like, hey, you got a little time?
Got a minute?
And you get really good at recognizing, especially in this business, you get really good at recognizing patterns of how people talk to you and when that gets disrupted. You're either getting a promotion or you're getting fired, and there's nothing in between.
What's that, fool?
I got one more for you guys today. So the Tampa Bay Bucks said they have slashed their stadium capacity by 3,600 for the Tom Brady-less 2023 season. Can you think of another time like one player has affected the actual arena or stadium capacity?
Capacity? No. But I do remember when Shaq came to the Lakers. I was in college, and I remember once upon a time at the Forum, you could buy walk-up tickets with a student ID for $9. Like day of game,
nice.
Walk up, show your student ID, $9. The moment they got Shaq, that went away immediately.
Damn.
So yeah, it wasn't a capacity thing. It was just more of a
change.
Yeah. Which for me, like at the time, I was like a sophomore. I think in college, I didn't have a lot of money. Like $9 tickets were great. Like that made life harder.
I was not listening. I was trying to write questions for the game in an hour. What was the question?
Like, what is there any player you could think of that will like change the capacity, or how many people are coming to the stadium?
Shohei Ohtani.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I mean, when people talk about like how much money he can make next year, that is an investment that you are making in your own franchise and bringing people out, because it's not every fifth day; it's every day, and more on the fifth one.
So if he leaves Angels, no one's going to go to Angel game ever again.
No one is going to go to.
They're not going to even see Mike Trout.
How many people go to Angels games now?
I don't know.
Almost nobody.
That was it was sort of a rhetorical question, but it was not. I mean,
I've been to a few. There's a lot of seats open.
Good seats still available. Want to win a chance to play golf with John Ireland and Corporate Greg? Terranea Resort and ESPN LA are giving away a round of golf. The links at Terranea and lunch with. I'm so got the game on my mind. I'm so in my head trying to get this thing done during breaks. We need to sell more advertising between now and the end of this show. All you have to do is post a video of your golf swing on Instagram or Twitter and tag ESPN Los Angeles. We, meaning Mason and Ireland, not me and Marcus, will review the best swings, and you could be playing golf with Ireland and Corporate Greg at the links at Terranea. So, yeah, make sure you're sending that in. Let's talk about the Dodgers because they are just crushing people. 14-1 in August. We'll get to that next. Brian Kamenetsky, Marcus Grant, in for the guys, 710 ESPN.
Today, I don't usually call him the funny Kamenetsky brother, but Brian is my favorite, I think. Brian Kamenetsky's here, and yes, our newest teammate, who will be in person tomorrow at Hollywood Park Casino for the afternoon show, Fantasy Palooza, the great Marcus Grant. Let's get to it. Brian and Marcus, your Thursday afternoon on Mason and Ireland right now.
We growl again? I hear the just in case.
No, you don't got it.
All right, cool. I don't want to.
Basically, Mason comes on at 3 o'clock and he does his 3. He goes 3 o'clock growl, and then that's it. He's the only one that does it.
Well, then good.
I mean, if you want to, Marcus, go ahead. We can hear. It's like a grumble.
Yeah. I don't want to steal his bit. I got to kind of switch it up a little bit.
It's the whole thing. That's fine as long as you get a little bit of something. I heard at the beginning it was good.
Yeah.
Well, we did the show twice because Brian didn't approve of our first run at the first segment, so he was like, "No, I didn't like it. Do it again."
We're going to start again.
So
Brian, really? See, this is what I love about it.
Came back at 1:30 and we just ran it back.
Perfect. See, Brian refused to speak for a long time, and now he's giving criticisms. This is great.
He didn't really say it out loud. He just played the open again. That's all.
It was implied. It was as if LeBron was running the board. It was very passive aggressive.
I like that person. Thank you.
You just called him the LeBron of the board.
I did.
That's awesome.
So there actually, speaking of this, there is a vigorous debate going on Twitter right now as to whether or not this is the worst show ever.
Worst show ever.
Which honestly,
you guys are that bad?
Here's the thing. If I'm going to be bad, let's be the worst. I don't want to just be mildly bad.
And honestly, if Twitter is telling you, or X, if they're telling you that you're bad, that means this show's been great.
I have seen one, my friend Ball Zach.
Be very careful, please.
Ball Zach.
He did it on purpose.
Says I'm funnier than Andy. So
really, that's good.
I like this.
You got one up there.
I'm glad we're listening to Ball Zachary. That's a good way to do it. Nicely done.
Beto and Whittier is defending us.
Good.
For all of you saying this is the worst show ever, let me hear you do this poop emoji. Yeah, didn't think so.
Love Beto.
Yeah, sure, it's not very good, but it's hard.
Okay, so
what they're doing is difficult.
I'm trying to go through the mafia and see what are they complaining about? Is it that, are you talking too much sports? Are you talking not enough sports? Is it?
I think people believe I laugh weird, which means I'm just going to laugh more.
Oh, I think you should. Yeah, see, I like that. Just keep doing it over and over.
What do you call
I think,
it?
and
Marcus,
by the way, Brian, I think that was clean.
What do you call an alligator wearing a vest?
What's that?
An investigator.
Okay, as someone who appreciates dad jokes, I genuinely like that.
I kind of like that one. That was actually pretty funny. See, Brian was one of those guys that he always did the big dad joke guy, but he did it with the fist bumps. So when you were coming in a lot, you would do instead of a fist bump, you'd do sharks eating your hand or something like that. Right.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Well, yeah, I would say I would apologize to the people that were upsetting, but I for one am not.
You can give one of those non-apology apologies. If I offended you, then I am sorry.
If I have provided you with the level of afternoon entertainment to which you are accustomed,
then I am sorry.
I am sorry.
All I know is I've known Marcus a really, really long time, and he fits perfectly into the station. Obviously, Brian, you've been here for a long time. You fit really well into the station. I'm not worried about what any of this says. It's actually a good thing when people hate on you. I get hated on nonstop.
Sweet.
Nonstop. And same with everybody else. What I really need to check is maybe we should go check the Reddit community. The Mason and Ireland Reddit. Hey, everybody but
place.
Steve Mason is a very dark place.
Reddit in general is just Reddit frightens and confuses me.
Yes,
generally just frightens.
I'm not sure
how often do you go on? Are you on?
Well, not very much anymore because it frightens and confuses me. I go to the front page and there are so many links and there's nothing that tells me anything, and I'm I don't even know where to start here.
It's really about the comments, right? You want to read the comments of those because those are usually pretty funny.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes, but these ones are just mean. It's crazy. That place is just dangerous.
What is it for?
And they hate I don't know. I think they just want a place to speak freely, which fine, good for you. Speak freely about the show. But it's ugly.
But if you Google a question,
you're talking about Reddit in general?
Just Reddit in general. We mentioned it briefly. Funch was talking about watches.
Yeah.
I like watches, and I'm kind of curious. Maybe if I bought a little more invested in one, what kind of get so you look up, you type in questions to learn more about
Google.
You Google questions, whatever.
Sometimes
and a lot of times Reddit links
sometimes you
come
get
up.
a Reddit link, yeah.
But I'm afraid to,
it's for the comments.
I feel if I click on Reddit, I'm going to end up in a room that is going to put me on an FBI watch.
So you're gonna be you think it's like a 4chan room?
It could be. I don't know. I don't know how to not find my way into a dark corner.
I'm scrolling through the r/watches segment of Reddit, and it's just a lot of people posting pictures of watches.
Are they nice watches? Are they not nice watches? Are they,
They
like
seem
Casios?
like I'm not a big watch person, so they seem like nice watches. This guy has his late grandpa's 1953 Oyster Perpetual Rolex.
Ooh,
that seems like a
they-
really nice watch.
Wait, are they
band in high
are they
school.
just showing it, or do they want people to buy it?
No, I think they're just showing off.
Just like, hey, check out my
Check
watch.
out my watch. Like, hey, this guy has like a whole rack of watches.
I mean,
and
I guess
stuff.
if you're going to our watches, then you're going to expect to see watches.
Is that the safe way to navigate around Reddit? Is
R
like
slash
r
like
slash-
reddit.com/r/blank, whatever you want it
because
to
they
be.
have everything there,
literally everything,
and I mean that in a good way
and in a bad way.
Uh-huh.
They have some pretty good ones. They have that like, "Am I the a-hole?" That's a really strong one.
Those are funny.
Those are always,
sometimes.
and there's really good.
And usually
questions.
the answer is yes.
Yes.
Usually
Yes.
the answer is yes.
Let's say,
You're a
isn't-
bad guy.
Isn't that the answer to any time if you have to ask the question? The
If you have
answer is
to, yeah,
probably
the
yes?
answer is probably yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. I've reached a point in my life where like my favorite thing on Twitter, excuse me, X.
No Twitter.
No, just call it Twitter. What are we doing?
Hey, what they might? What if
Elon's
I think
not,
they should
Elon's
buy
not
the-
paying me.
No,
right. That's what I'm talking about.
They should get this. They should buy out crypto and see if anybody would call it X Stadium or X
Arena?
I mean, nobody calls it
eventually.
Crypto.com.
No, they call it Staples. But like, what I just don't understand about moving to X, and that's a whole nother longer conversation. But why change what it is? Why stop calling it retweet and calling it a repost? Everything is repost.
Because-
you repost everywhere.
Because he has a fascination with the letter X. I mean, I think he wanted to name PayPal X.
Yes.
I mean, he has Space X.
He named his kid X.
He just has a fascination with that. Like, maybe Des Bryant is his favorite football player, so we could throw up the X. Like, I have no idea.
That's fine. I'm totally fine with. Oh, Des Bryant. Remember that when he just
throw up the X?
Yeah, that was actually a really cool thing. I like that. But either way, he changed it from retweet to repost.
Right.
You didn't have to do that.
Because if you called it Re-X, people would just call it Rex.
Rex. Actually, I would be kind of into that. It's about dinosaurs. So, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to Rex
But
this.
like, why try and make it something that's so commonplace? Like Google, you think about like, I'm going to go Google that, even if you go to Yahoo or Bing or DuckDuckGo or whatever it is. Why change
Jeeves, man.
Have you seen the designs for Cybertruck?
When it got, I saw when he threw a ball at it and it broke the window.
Right, but if you go look at it, it's like this like scale angular thing. It looks like a car from Mad Max. Rawr. That is the answer
was
to
a good
why it's
rawr.
called an X, because
It
he
literally
is
looks
a
like
child.
It looks like a car I designed when I was 8.
It's exactly right.
It's what it looks like.
And he is
With like Lincoln Logs.
Yeah,
I mean, just like, if I'm drawing a car and I'm like angles and squares and boxes and a couple wheels on it, like that's it.
Yeah, like you don't know how to actually like.
But I have no sense of contour.
No.
Nothing. Nothing.
But your description, Marcus, is exactly correct. Is if it was designed by a 9-year-old, and that is.
But that's kind of what he is, right?
Multi-billionaire. Yes,
Yeah.
he was essentially a 9-year-old.
Yeah, I always like to call him the Wizard of Oz. Like, don't look what's behind these curtains.
You drew that car when you were 9.
Yes.
I think my favorite nickname for him is Phony Stark.
Phony Stark. That's because here's the thing too. Is like he doesn't come. I mean, we probably shouldn't be slandering him. He's probably listening to me right now. But either way, like he doesn't actually come up
not
with
here
anything.
very
I'm going to do it
often.
anyway. Yeah, it's fine. He doesn't come up with anything. He just buys things.
Yes. He's not actually the inventor of a lot
He's
of these
Richard
things.
Gere in Pretty Woman.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
He buys the company.
He buys the company.
Yeah,
That's it.
I don't know.
yeah, it works for me. Works for him.
Works for him.
Yeah, what are we gonna do?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But did you guys go over? I'm sure you went over the Lakers schedule. Did you end
We
up
did mention
liking
that a little bit.
Did you end up liking what you're seeing from it? I don't understand the
Here's-
play-in tournament very well.
Well, it starts very quickly.
Brian's
I
been
will tell you
educating
this.
me on it today.
Really?
Actually.
You didn't know too much about it either.
Not
I
really.
forget
It's
how
very
early.
odd.
It starts very early too. It doesn't matter. It's
Like
irrelevant.
November.
It's gonna be irrelevant for Lakers fans. But here's the thing that is interesting: Lakers play 15 back-to-backs.
That's one more than the average.
more than the average. They have a bunch of games where they're playing sort of on the second night when the other team is resting. They travel a lot. This and you. The 65-game threshold to win postseason awards, to be eligible for them. Anthony Davis really wants to win DPOY. LeBron James, whatever it is, any of this stuff.
Yep, that would.
You're looking at probably 10 off the top where those guys are sitting.
Well, he plays no back-to-backs. You're losing 15 games.
They'll
right
play
off the bat.
some. They'll play some back-to-back.
Sure, maybe later in the season. But let's say, because that whole thing of I'm not playing back-to-backs, that's 15 games. You're immediately taking off of an 82-game season. You're at 67 games.
I just think, like the NBA is going to they are trying to get guys to play, but like, you know what? Wait a minute. I want to win an MVP. I want to be all first team NBA because that's how I get eligible for a Supermax and all this other stuff. So like it is going to be. But if for these players or teams that are more dedicated to the rest prospect than they are, like awards, not many players last year who were on that elite level were above 70 games last year. Embiid barely made it. It was 66.
And now it's just going to get worse and worse too. I mean,
Maybe.
guys, huh?
It depends. How bad does AD
How
want to win?
bad do you want it?
Right.
And, like necessarily, like, how bad do you want it? Are you looking at the schedule, looking ahead, gaming things out, right? Like I'm looking at the schedule right now, and they've got a 6-game road trip at the end of March, start of April.
That's a tough time. That's right at the end of the season.
That's end of the season. It's a long road trip, depending on where you are in
East
terms of
Coast?
seeding. So Milwaukee, Memphis, Indiana, Brooklyn, Toronto, Washington.
Oh, well, that's that East Coast swing.
Yeah.
They're also on the road at the beginning of the year a lot more than they usually are.
Yeah, isn't it like only 3 games at home in the first 9?
First 9, yeah.
Jeez, that's crazy. We're never gonna get over to crypto.
Super random too here, right? Like not knowing how long the writer's strike or whatever is going to go on here. I know they have the Grammy trip every year. What happens if the Grammys get postponed, moved? You know, I mean,
I don't think
know if they thought of that.
Right? Like, I don't think that when they came up with the schedule, I'm sure that was not crossing their mind.
Well, I mean, maybe they're probably hoping that
Everything's
ends,
worked out.
That everything's worked out because it's been over 100 days now. So they've been putting together the schedule for a while.
You know, the Emmys have been postponed. Like,
Right.
if the Grammys get postponed and moved, like, how do they accommodate that?
Now, let me ask you a real question: would you be upset if any of those things got canceled?
I wouldn't care.
I haven't watched them in years.
I wouldn't care.
Yeah, like have you ever even looked at an article about, let's see who won Best New Artist?
I don't know who these people are years old.
That's
right.
A great that's a great way to put it.
And it's not. Let me clarify, because like they will show up, and I might know the names or something like that. Like they say the name of something, and I'm like, okay, I've heard of this person, but I couldn't tell you a single song that they sing.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm not into the new music
That's
whatsoever.
it.
My daughter listens to some of the new music, but she won't talk to me about
You
it.
know you're old when you say the new music.
The
That's how you know you're
put a
old.
the in front of
the
things.
new music.
Hey, you be careful. That's what Mason says about everything. He calls it the get up.
The new math.
the first take.
Or that. That's what my mom does. Have you been to that Waba grill? That Waba grill?
The Waba?
That Waba thing? Well, just to bring this full circle, Siobhan Monterosa writes, the De Niro deep dive was great. Marcus let his nerdiness hang all out.
That's what I'm here for.
See?
That's what I'm here
That's what
for.
I'm talking about.
So
That's what you're going to
we
get.
want to end things on a positive note.
Thanks,
What is?
Siobhan.
Yeah, I'll do that in a
Siobhan's
second.
great.
What else is happening? Like, is there something coming up next that I need to
No,
let people
no,
know
no,
about?
no, nothing.
I do have
just
to,
like, whatever. Just
whatever.
I do have to
Just
prepare
chill, man.
Rolling out the balls, dude.
game
Good.
of games in 27 minutes.
Only if you have questions, though.
I am under the gun, and it's going to be tight. And this is either going to be the greatest game or the worst game in Game of Games history.
I hope it's the
I'm
worst.
confident.
I mean,
It would get
Best is
Jorge
getting
off
hard.
the clock. It'd be
Yeah.
fine.
Well, Ramona usually is good for a
No,
bad
Jorge's
game.
had some really, really bad ones. Brian's games have been pretty good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, he's doing a good job.
Can you come up with one in 27 minutes?
Got nothing for you.
We're going to talk about the Dodgers or the schedule or James Harden. We'll do something like that next. Mason Island Show, 710 ESPN.
After a league
We're getting dangerously close to having an entire game.
Oh, here we go.
Nice.
Dangerously close.
You got 20 minutes.
I know. Would you like to win again? If I go quiet during the segment, you all know why. Talk amongst yourselves. You want to win a chance to play golf with John Ireland and Corporate Greg? Terranea Resort and ESPN LA are giving away a round of golf with the links of Terranea and lunch with Ireland and Greg. All you have to do is post a video of your golf swing on Instagram or Twitter and tag ESPN Los Angeles. We, meaning Mason and Ireland, will review the best swings, and you could be playing golf with Ireland and Corporate Greg at the links of Terranea. It is a cool little golf course. It's like playing Oceanside, but it's all like par 3. It's a little par 3. So
cool.
Up there, is it up there or down there? It's south, right?
South of where we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Down there in the Terranea land.
In what, Palos Verdes?
Could be.
Is that where?
Yes.
I thought that was
Palos
north.
Verdes, right? No,
Okay.
no. Pacific Palisades is north. Palos Verdes is south.
Rancho Palos Verdes.
I can't afford to
All
go in
sounds the
either
same
one
to
of
me.
those neighborhoods, as it turns out.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Both above my pay grade.
Yeah. So, what we were going to say, we're going to talk about the Dodgers. I think we mentioned that.
Sure. Yes, sir.
And then we can move on to something else. 14-1 in August. I realize it's sports talk radio, and I realize like a certain level of angst has to be part of the programming. You know, you got stuff to talk about. It's like you got to fill time. You know, a bunch of shows every day.
Right.
Are we done doing this with the Dodgers every year?
No.
Do we have to get all
Of course
upset
not.
and worried and freak out every time they're not 16 games ahead of the division in May?
No, we're going to do this every year. If they get off to a slow start or if they hit a speed bump in the middle of the season. What was it? I think it was 2018. It was one of the years they went to the World Series when they didn't win it. And I remember they had an awful month of September. I mean, just awful in September. And I watched them and I'm like, they're never going to win another game again. They're going to miss the playoffs. It's going to be a disaster.
Oh, that's right.
And then
Yeah.
they then they went to the World Series and they ultimately lost, but they pulled it together. But no. And it's like all you have to do is lose like 3 in a row and the sky is falling. That's just, I don't know if that's how baseball fans are. I don't know if it's how Dodger fans are, but we're going to do it. If they hit a slump in the next couple weeks, it'll happen. If they start off next year slow, we will do the same hysterics.
Look, and I get it. Like, if there was the pitching staff in July, for example, was historically bad. It's
Yes.
the worst team ERA they've ever had for an entire month, and like the bullpen was terrible. But like, you look at it, and everybody was hurt. And it's like, well, why is this? Why did they didn't go out and do this? They gave up on Turner. Look, the Bellinger thing. I mean, he's playing MVP caliber ball. again,
Honestly, I wish him. I think that
So do I.
that needed to happen.
do you think that would be happening here, though?
No, it was
don't.
one of those cases where they had to have a conscious uncoupling.
Yeah.
You know, there was too much pressure on him. The Dodgers were expecting too much. Like that needed to happen. And honestly, I'm glad for him that he's
Right.
having
I feel like
success.
if he was trying to do that here, it wouldn't work because contextually, just you don't get that flexibility and that freedom. So, I'm okay with that. But generally speaking, the players that they let go, it's okay that they let them go. Like, you know, would it have been better to, you know, Andy is big on keeping Corey Seager. Well, I didn't know Gavin Lux was going to get hurt like a day before this, you know, right into training camp or spring training. They're really good at what they do.
They are. They also have a big mistake eraser in the form of deep pockets. You know, it is a thing that we were joking sort of about the Kansas City Royals before the show, and the Royals. I know the small market thing is sort of overblown, but the Royals don't have that, where if they draft poorly or if they scout poorly, they can't just overhaul the roster over the course of an offseason and then still be back in contention again. The Dodgers can do that. So if you make a mistake, you can figure out how to erase it in short order and get yourself back in contention again.
Well, the other thing about it is, like, it is one thing to be rich. It is another thing to be smart.
Yes.
It is the best thing to be rich and smart. And that's essentially what the Dodgers are. It's like they go out and, like, is Lance Lynn somebody you really want to rely on in the playoffs, in the postseason? Like, you're going to feel comfortable trotting Lance Lynn out in a Game 3 against Atlanta? I do not think so.
Right.
I don't care if he pitches great between now and the end of the year. You're not going to be like, you know what, he's rediscovered. He's you know, no, you're going to be terrified because he's been pretty bad for the last couple seasons. But they're really good at taking dudes, and if you're a pitcher, honing in on, you know, here's why your ERA is a run and a half higher than it should be. Here's why you're allowing too many hard hit balls, on your slider here because you're throwing it too often, you're putting it in the wrong spot. They find those inefficiencies in players and they fix them. Yeah. And so you get the best version of whatever dude it is that doesn't hit every time, but it hits most of the time.
And I think to your point about being rich versus being smart, right? You have the Dodgers who are rich and smart. You have the Mets who are rich, but they went out and signed, they get a couple of old pitchers in Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander. That didn't work out. You have guys who aren't hitting and can't stay healthy. And suddenly the Mets at the trade deadline, they are sellers. They're moving pieces, and they're basically trying to start over because things went bad. Like they threw a bunch of money at it. It didn't solve the Padres. I mean, I know they're trying to turn things around. They spent a lot of money, and right now they haven't gotten a lot to show for it.
And because there's like something institutionally about it. I know like it raises the angst when you go to the playoffs every year and you don't win. Like you said, you made the comparison earlier in the show. Like you caught yourself calling them the 90s Braves like it was a bad thing.
Right. Yeah, because they only, the Braves only got one World Series out of that, but they were great every single year.
But how much of that is a failure of the organization on some level, and how much of that's just baseball is stupid and it's dumb luck?
I think it's more baseball is stupid. I mean,
I agree with you.
Last year's Dodger team was one of the best teams ever put out on the field. They got beat in the playoffs. They've had some teams that, go back to 88, right? That 88 team probably shouldn't have won a World Series, but the dumb luck of baseball, they go out and beat an A's team that was superior to them in most every way. So you said it before. Once you get to the playoffs, it's sort of all bets are off. Get to the dance, and who knows what's going to happen. Yeah. It's hard to win championships in any sport. It's just hard.
Do you feel like if the Dodgers made the playoffs 3 out of every 7 years, which would, by the way, be really good. Most franchises would take that in a heartbeat. That how much of the conversation, how much of the way we talk about them, how much of the angst about these types of things, why didn't they sell out the farm at the deadline? How much of that would change?
It would change a lot because your expectations would be different. You're like, hey, there's a good chance we could be a playoff team, and who knows, maybe we can make a run, and that's going to be exciting and fun. As opposed to right now, you're just waiting for October. April hits, and you're just waiting for October. And every now and then they get really hot or they get kind of cold or somebody's playing well, and that's sort of worth talking about. But in the end, you're just sort of like, all right, it's cool, man, but what happens in the playoffs? That's all it is for the Dodger fans.
And baseball is, it's not, basketball is the best team usually wins.
Or
gets pretty darn close.
As long as they're relatively healthy.
Right. The best team usually wins because one or two players in basketball essentially dictate your top end. Nikola Jokic is, at worst, the third best player in the NBA.
Right.
So you combine him with a healthy Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon, and now you're going deep into the roster. You got Bruce Brown and all the and so on. Like you're really good. Like in Jokic's presence is outshines everything. And now look, Clayton Kershaw in his prime matters more in the playoffs than he does in the regular season. You get to pitch him twice, and there's only 6 games, 7 games, or whatever. But one guy, Freddie Freeman, only is going to be able to bat when his turn comes up.
Maybe 4 times.
Right. He's not allowed. It's not like LeBron. LeBron can take more shots.
Yes.
But like when if they don't win this year, it's in Freeman. It's like it's not. Why didn't he do more? Well, maybe he played, maybe hit the ball well, maybe he didn't. But it's not like he passed up 15 at bats that he could have taken, but he didn't. Just he didn't feel like it. Right. You can only do so much as one player in a lineup.
It is. Baseball is sort of it's a team sport. It is a loosely connected series of individual events, and so one person can only really impact the game so much. It's why Dave Roberts fairly or unfairly takes so much heat every year when things go sideways, because he's the one who theoretically has control over where the pieces are on the board, so to speak. It's up to those guys to kind of perform. The other part of it is the guys on the other side are usually pretty good too.
Yeah. Game of Games is coming up in 13 minutes. I am dangerously close to getting this game finished up. So we might talk about an interesting television list from Rolling Stone in the next segment.
Okay.
You guys might just talk about whatever you want because I might just be finishing up the game.
Brian is like scribbling furiously over
I'm
here.
trying. I'm typing the Kermit meme. Listen to the afternoon show today starting 4 p.m. That'll be Ramona and my brother Andy for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Angels game on Monday night against the Reds. You'll be going to the game with Cappy, producer Lindsay Baseball, and Morales. Again, he's like a Brazilian soccer player now. He just goes by one name. Your chance to win this afternoon from 4 to 7 thanks to Coors Light, keeping Southern California chill all season long. Mason Island, 710 ESPN.
Travis and Sliwa.
Coming up tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. live from LA Live.
We might be the best of all of them.
Ooh.
Talking about actual
something like that. I am pleased to say the game is done. I have enough questions.
The game is afoot, he says.
Yeah, it may not be good,
but it's done.
But it's done. And as a teacher of mine once told me, don't let good get in the way of finished.
There it is.
Yeah, so that explains why I am a radio host. That level of ambition can get you kids sitting right here as well. Brian Kamenetsky and Marcus Grant. Marcus, of course, will be at the Hollywood Park Casino tomorrow for the big fantasy extravaganza. Have you explained? Has anybody explained to you what that is?
I'm just supposed to show up and answer questions. That's all I know.
Okay,
that's as far as I've been told.
It's basically what it's like doing what you do now at this time of year,
like
just at a casino
in a new location.
Right.
That's
okay.
it.
Rolling Stone has a really fun list out of the 50 greatest mistakes, the 50 worst decisions in television history. Mm-hmm. It includes things like Jeopardy allows Mike Richards to anoint himself host. That was just a few years ago. That didn't work very well. The Geico cavemen get their own sitcom. I had forgotten about that.
I remember that.
Yeah, I forgot.
Really
about
good
that,
commercials,
too.
though.
Great commercials.
I remember that.
Didn't need to happen.
No.
2007, they got their own sitcom. That didn't last very long. Other good things in here. This I completely forgot about. HBO tries to make a Sex in the City for men.
I don't think I knew that.
Me too.
I never heard.
I don't think I knew that.
It's called The Mind of the Married Man, and the pitch basically was Sex in the City for men. Cop Rock.
Cop Rock, I remember.
I don't.
I'm old enough.
But I read the description in that article, and it sounded like what a Broadway production of like Cops or something.
It was like a Broadway musical, but like a cop show.
It's like Hill Street Blues, except a musical.
It's like something that it's like one of those fake 30 Rock shows, is what it seems like.
Gee.
Except it was serious.
Except it was for real.
How long did it go for? One season?
One season, 1993.
I was like, it got a full season. I didn't even remember if it got a full season.
Yeah, one season in 1993, and this was back when there were only
93.
Yeah, 93.
Man, I would have remembered this.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't have a lot of time.
I remember they would because they would advertise it during Monday Night Football too.
Man.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Anything else? You have this.
I see the Geraldo takes viewers inside Al Capone's vault.
I remember.
I remember as a kid, like I was breathlessly waiting on this. Like I'm looking at the date, so I would have been like 9. I remember recording it because it went on longer than I was allowed to stay up. So like I begged my parents to record it. Like the next day I ran home from school and watched it, and he didn't find a damn thing.
There was like literally nothing in that vault.
There was nothing in the vault.
It took him that crushed his career, right?
Pretty
for
much.
Years.
For a while.
It took him a while to recover from that.
Yeah.
They got a lot of stuff in here about like TV shows that either dump characters or move on without Laverne and Shirley going on without Shirley.
I didn't remember that happened.
But they
didn't rename the show.
No, I didn't know about that. No.
Oh, that's awkward.
But they do talk about The Office going on with no Steve Carell.
I wanted to ask you guys about that. Is that really a mistake? Because I thought the James Spader stuff was pretty funny.
I'm not an Office guy.
Yeah, I love The Office. I like the last couple seasons. I think it's only 2 seasons after Steve Carell leaves. I mean, they bring in Will Ferrell too for a little bit, and then they.
I mean, I don't think it had the same level to it, but it wasn't a disaster.
It wasn't bad.
I think all the other characters got like more of a personality, so it was, more about the whole cast at that end.
This one is has local meaning. ESPN decides Rush Limbaugh would make a good football commentator. Brings him on the Monday Night Football.
That didn't last the full season, right?
I don't think it did.
Because he made the comment about Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
And
That's
black
right. That's right.
And then that was pretty much a wrap for him.
And remember, it's not in here, but remember Dennis Miller?
I remember Dennis Miller.
Monday Night Football.
Terrible idea too.
That was awful.
He's funny.
He just isn't good for that format.
Yeah, exactly.
It's too much. It was too much.
Another thing on this list I like is the MTV turning to ridiculousness.
That's the whole network now.
Yeah.
Which honestly is a great gig for, who was it? Rob Dyrdek?
The skater guy.
Yeah.
When did it stop doing videos? Like when was that?
Maybe 10 years ago. I would have to say.
Feels like it's longer than that.
Functionally, stop. If nothing else, like when I was a kid, MTV was all videos and like news updates.
Yeah,
Martha
Kurt
Quinn
Loder
would pop up every once in a while.
Loder.
I found that they just recently shut down the MTV News division, which I didn't even know was still functioning, and they just shut it down. And like that, yeah, I mean, Kurt Loder is like 70 now too.
That's the equivalent to if like when you see somebody died.
You're like, oh. I didn't know you were still with us.
Sorry to hear that, person I thought died decades ago. I mean, like, you know, Steve, the cop rock thing is a great example. How much do you penalize shows for trying stuff that is undoubtedly, like, go back into YouTube. You can find cop rock on YouTube. It's not good. It's not some sort of gem that was overlooked or whatever. But it was bad.
It's cool that they tried something different.
It was ambitious.
Right. I mean, because now, like, how many different versions of CSI, NCIS, Law and Order? Like, there's this. It's the same show. You know what? There's the Chicago Fire and Chicago Med and like Chicago Transit and Chicago
These
Sanitation.
are all CBS shows, aren't they?
Probably. I don't
NBC
know.
shows. Not that I know.
Okay.
But it's like the same show, just sort of regurgitated. So at least I give them credit for trying, even if it was an abject disaster.
That's sort of like, it's the only thing that I like with Rob Pelinka and the Russell Westbrook thing that I give at least a tiny bit of credit for, is that in some ways it's incredibly lazy because it's like 3 stars. Here we go. All right. But on the other hand, like, Pelinka's not that stupid. Like, he's not a dumb man. He knows, like, this is a really, the downside here is absurdly large. And generally speaking, I kind of give some people credit, especially in creative endeavors. Maybe not with Russell Westbrook. That might be a terrible example. But with like creative endeavors, like really ambitious misses.
I mean, that's why I can't think of any offhand, but like when you have a musical artist, for instance, that goes outside of their comfort zone to do something different. Like, I respect it, even if it doesn't hit. Like, try something new. Be something that maybe you're not for a little bit. And maybe you find something great. Who knows? But it's just, you know.
And you'll be able to answer this, like, most ambitious failures of all time. There's actually a good Reddit thread. Most ambitious of all time. Oh, good. Okay, it's a Collider thread according to Reddit. I was going to say, because we just had this conversation.
We just had the whole Reddit conversation.
I don't like clicking on like, here's a list of the 10 most ambitious failures.
Okay.
In movie. Cloud Atlas. That's the Tom Hanks movie.
Is that the one with Halle Berry too? And she's like an old man.
Think so.
Yeah, because he keeps going through time or something like that.
Yeah. They're all playing like different roles.
It's a
right?
weird mess. Apollo 13.
Wait, really?
That's a great movie.
That's a great movie. What are you
did
talking
really
about?
well.
Now I feel like I need to watch it again.
How is that Wait. Oh, these aren't ambitious failures. This is just an ambitious movie.
Oh, got it. I was like, wait, because Titanic certainly was not a...
You're reading the wrong schedule. I have officially had my moment that Travis had earlier. For those of you who missed it, Travis did the whole breakdown of the Lakers 2022 schedule release earlier on the show.
Yeah. I would say, though, some of the bigger failures, I feel like a lot of times people get talk shows that don't deserve talk shows. You know, for all the great things Magic Johnson has done, he is not a great talk show
How did
host.
that not make this list?
I don't know. Because the Magic, it lasted for like 8 weeks.
Chevy Chase was number 7 on his list.
Chevy Chase was a bad talk show host.
Until I saw it, I'd forgotten that was a thing.
I knew one person who loved it. I had a roommate in college who just loved Chevy Chase, like
guy.
unequivocally, just loved him unequivocally. Anything he did, he would watch it. He was probably the guy that watched the show.
Can you be a good talk show host when you are generally seen by 90-something% of the population of people who would be on your show as a raging bleep hole? Like, Chevy Chase is one of the...
No, it's really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, because like people have to want to talk to you for you to be a talk show host. Like, if I don't want to talk to you, why would I go on your show?
Right. It's because it's not just likability to the audience. Because, like, yeah, sure, I could like Chevy Chase. I think he's funny. But, like, it's got to be likability to the guests.
Yes. Which I'm sure it was probably hell on his guest bookers, right? Like, people like, I don't want to talk to him.
No, he sucks. And he's I mean, Chevy Chase had a stretch where he was, you know, pretty godlike in terms of, you know, the ability to produce content that just made millions of dollars.
Right.
But awful guy.
And then, you know.
So those rumors are true.
Yeah, I mean, like, he got fired. I don't know if you remember the show Community. He got fired from Community for being an awful person and an awful coworker.
Jeez.
Which is saying something in Hollywood. Because he's not the only one.
No. It's sad because that was a good show. That's a show
it's a really good show,
watch.
actually.
It was a good show.
Did you guys know that Kris Jenner had her own talk show?
No, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, about 10 years ago, and it just probably lasted 6 weeks. It's 6 weeks, yeah. 10 episodes.
But, like, I think at this point you can almost guess whose talk shows have a chance and whose don't. Just like like the Kelly Clarkson thing.
I'm surprised by that one.
Kelly.
Very surprised by that one.
But hers has lasted way longer than I would have
anticipated. Everybody likes her. Drew Barrymore, perfect talk show host.
Surprised by that one too.
But she's super pleasant. People like hearing her talk, and people like going on her show because she's nice.
She's nice. I mean,
we
all thought Ellen was nice, right? So a couple of years ago.
Maybe the people going on the show didn't realize. Maybe you only had to work for Ellen to realize. Like everybody thought Chevy Chase was a jerk. So who's playing Game of Games from the other show?
We can get your brother.
We have to get somebody to come in and play.
We get your brother.
One of them.
Yeah, brother.
Can we just go run up and down the hall?
I originally was going to make a game for Beto, but I wasn't sure if he would play, so I didn't.
Oh, he never plays.
Right, so I didn't do it.
Right. Is it why doesn't he play?
I don't know.
Too cool.
Yeah.
Same reason that I don't have a talk show.
It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Beto. Y'all made
when
him
he comes
work?
in.
Just said that.
I didn't make him work. Corporate Drake did.
All right. Game of Games next. Mason Ireland Show, 710 ESPN.
Sedano and Cap.
It's
radio show in LA, Mason and Ireland.
Game of Games.
Game of Games presented by CallJacob.com.
Call Jacob.
Everyone loves a fighter, but in this town, winning matters, especially after an accident. So remember, anyone can fight, but CallJacob.com is here for you when you need a big win. After an accident, go to CallJacob.com or call 844-24-JACOB. That's 844-24-JACOB. We got the jingle.
Call Jacob.
Thank you. Game of Games time. Take it away, Mace.
Well, he's not here. So it's Brian Kamenetsky. It's Marcus Grant. Of course, remember, Marcus will be there tomorrow at the Hollywood Park Casino along with Beto. And did you know Morales just goes by Morales now?
Yes.
He's no longer, he's like
Miles Morales.
He's Sting.
Like, did we approve this?
I mean, I didn't, but he did, so that's all that matters, I guess.
Is it on his driver's license?
No, it's sexy classy, I believe.
Really?
It's a whole nother situation.
Don't think so.
All right, it is time for Game of Games. Laura is here to play because Beto and Andy just won't. They refuse.
They refuse. They just put up the, I don't want to do it.
I had actually, my original plan when I heard that Beto was in today was going to be, I was going to make a game for Beto on his birthday that he would win. And the premise of the game was going to be that I would name a bunch of famous professional athletes from L.A., and it would be where did they go to high school. And
he
Beto
would
get all of
definitely get
them
that,
correct.
yeah.
But I also figured he wouldn't actually play the game, and so I didn't bother.
And
So
you were right.
That's what he gets.
Yeah.
He could have won.
Happy birthday, Beto.
Yeah.
You're washed now, according
My
to
gift
you.
to you is to not make you do an extra segment. All right, it is though National Number 2 Pencil Day, which of course goes very with the calendar because kids are back in school. A lot of kids started this week. My kids start next week.
Oh, wow.
So in honor of back to school and National Number 2 Pencil Day, I have a game that is all about pencil trivia.
Okay.
So all
Here
of
we
you will
go.
have a chance. It is all about pencils. Here we go. It's all multiple choice or true false. Here we go. How many pencils does the average tree make? How many pencils does the average tree make? 70,000, 170,000, 270,000, or 1.7 million? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, Laura.
I'll go with C.
C, 270,000.
Average tree.
The average tree makes how many pencils?
I'm going to go with 1.7 million.
1.7 million. Funchy.
Was it 170,000?
170,000
Yes,
is
B.
the choice.
B.
Okay, B.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
going B too.
The answer is
170,000.
B, 170,000.
All right.
1.7 million is
That's
a
a lot of
I
pencils.
know. I was like,
How
what do
big
you
of the
mean?
tree we
What are we
talking?
saying? Average tree? Like, what are we
Average
talking
tree.
about?
He was thinking
Like
of
a
those little
redwoods?
baby pencils that you would get
Like
when you
golf
would do
pencils?
testing.
Like
Yeah,
golf
the
pencils and
little
stuff.
mini
You're getting
ones.
too deep in your head here. All right, number 2. What does the number 2 in a number 2 pencil represent? Does it represent the thickness of the graphite? And remember, there is no lead in pencils. Is it the thickness of the graphite, the hardness of the graphite, or the darkness of the graphite? What does the number 2 represent? Brian, you go first.
The thickness. I think that was A, right?
You're a thickness guy. All right?
That's a joke.
I was going to say girth.
Circumference.
Laura?
Oh, me? What
No,
was it?
skip the joke.
I was like, wait, why did I go
Because
next?
I'm going in this order.
It's like,
I'm going in a clockwise order. So, is it thickness, hardness, or darkness of the graphite? Whole context of the question has changed. hasn't it?
a C.
C. You went with darkness. Marcus.
This is the hardness of it.
All right. So we really need to get past this.
Come on, Bunchy, let's
Bunchy.
go.
A.
The answer is C. Darkness.
Is it
point to
darkness?
Laura. The darkness of the
I
graphite.
told you I knew.
I thought I knew, but apparently
Yeah,
I
you were all
didn't.
cocky about that one.
I did. I was super
You guys want a
cocky
score
about
update?
it.
You guys
I
want a
got
score
one.
update real quick? You got it?
Yep. 1 for Laura, 1 for Brian, 1 for Funchy.
Cool.
Number 3, how long a line can a standard pencil draw before the graphite runs out? So like if you were just to start and on the ground and just run that thing until it ran out, how long a line could it make? A, 5 miles, B, 25 miles, C, 35 miles, or D, 100 miles? Marcus.
I'm going to go with 25 miles.
All right. Bunchy?
35.
35 miles? Brian?
5 miles.
5 miles, Laura?
5 miles.
The answer is 35 miles.
Wow.
Bunchy takes the lead, 2-1.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
That
right?
is a lot of miles.
It's a long way.
Hemingway and Steinbeck were famous for handwriting their work. The average novel is about 90,000 words. How many pencils would it have taken for Hemingway and Steinbeck to write that 90,000 word novel? Funchy, you go first. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. The answer is A, 2, B, 20, or C, 200. A, 20, B, 2, 20, or 200.
I feel like those guys just use up their pencil up to the nub, so I'm going to say 20.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to just 20.
20. Laura?
20.
Let's make it unanimous. 20.
The answer is 2. All you need
What?
is 2 pencils.
Wow!
2 pencils will write
What we
you
meant was
a
2. 20
fully
minus a
handwritten
0,
novel.
right?
The first pencil, so 2, 1, and 1. Marcus
I'm still
not on the
blank
board,
here.
but
Ooh,
in the
you
game.
is a Curtis.
You're still here. The first pencil sharpener was invented in A, 1628, B, 1728, C, 1828, or D, 1928. Brian.
1928.
Laura?
I didn't pay attention,
16,
but
A,
so I'm just going to go with
B,
C.
1728.
C, whatever C is.
1828.
Okay,
Marcus?
I feel like 1928. I feel like it's a recent thing. Like people just use knives or something.
Mm-hmm. Funchy?
I think it's a 1800 thing. 1828.
The answer is C, 1828. So
Oh, they
points
got
for
that.
Laura and a point for Funchy.
This game is
You
kicking
know
my butt
nothing
right now.
about pencils.
He is busting a Curtis.
I'm a pen guy.
He's stomping me
1920.
out.
You really think humanity couldn't come up with a pencil sharpener until
1928, bro.
1928?
I can't with you.
Like after the car was invented before
TV
the
was
pencil
yeah.
sharpener.
I can't with
Really?
you.
The radio.
Really?
Come on,
By the way,
Brian.
you are correct. The pencil sharpener before pencil sharpeners was
It's
in
a
fact
knife.
a
It's just a knife.
Right. A lot of school injuries happen that way.
Bam.
The most expensive pencil in the world is a limited edition of the Graf von Faber-Castell Perfect Pencil. It is crafted from 240-year-old olive wood and 18-karat white gold. It costs A, $12,800, B, $128,000, or C, $1.28 million.
I'm going to go with B.
B, $128,000.
Yeah, I'll go
Marcus?
B.
Yeah. B.
B, $128,000.
I'm going with C.
C, $1.28 million for the guy who thinks that the car was invented. The answer is A.
Oh, well.
A bargain at $12,800.
Well, you sold that
white
very
gold?
well.
No
Brian.
points there.
You sold that very well. I'm going to
I am
let
a-
you know that.
As my great-grandmother said, a salesman.
Mhm.
In 2008, pencil sales spiked. This is going better than I thought it would, to be honest with you. In 2008, pencil sales spiked by 700% in London because A, a shipping vessel carrying tens of millions of pens sank off the coast of Wales, limiting the supply to the island. B, the increase in popularity of Sudoku. Or C, the British education system changed its standardized testing program.
What was the
A,
year?
What year was this?
This is in 2008. The ship sinks off the coast of Wales, Sudoku becomes more popular, or the British education system changed its standardized testing program. 700% spike in pencil sales in London. Let's go, Laura. You go first.
Why? He needs to go. It was
Okay,
me.
Mark.
I'll go first. I'm gonna go Sudoku
Sudoku?
because that feels goofy enough.
Funchy?
I was gonna do Sudoku
Not
too,
even
so you guys
listening.
you can do Sudoku for me.
C.
Clean. I'm going to say Funchy would have said Sudoku. 'cause
Yeah.
he's
Why don't
talking
you
to-
say Sudoku?
Yeah. Clean sweep for everyone. Sudoku
Hey,
is
I'm on the
correct
board.
answer to that question.
Hey.
I just didn't want to get blanked.
True.
Oh, I like that too when you're doing bad.
All right, one more left, and then we have the tiebreaker.
Okay.
Before erasers were introduced, people used what to erase their mistakes? A, breadcrumbs, B, cotton balls, C, apple cores, or D, cow hooves. Funchess, I guess, should go
First.
What was the question again? Feto's giving me a hard time because he wanted to play a game of games on his
Okay,
birthday. And
now.
yes.
I was going to make the game for you, Beto.
I think he's just
And you would've
acting
won.
out.
I
He's
think you would've
acting
too.
out.
All right, good.
Before erasers were introduced, people used to use what to erase their mistakes? They used A, breadcrumbs, B, cotton balls, C, apple cores, or D, cow hooves.
I'm sure you made up one of those answers too. I'm going
I
to
made
say
up three of those answers to be
okay.
precise.
Apple cores.
All right, they used apple cores. Brian,
I was thinking that, but I'm gonna go cotton balls.
right? You should go with something else because cotton
Damn.
balls.
I was cotton
Laura,
balls.
it is important that you get this right because then we can move on to the
Okay,
tiebreaker.
cotton balls.
Cotton
That's-
balls.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say apple cores.
Apple cores. The answer is breadcrumbs. which
What?
means
Really?
Uncle
Wow.
Funchess is the winner of Game of Games.
Booyah!
There you
Damn. I almost
How does a
got that.
breadcrumb erase
go. I
anything?
didn't
Yeah, I thought
ask.
that was trick.
I don't. Yeah, same. I'm
I
like,
thought more people would have picked hooves.
no.
No, because how would you get it? Like that just seems really
That's-
cumbersome.
Yeah.
The
I just
clipping,
get
you
ano-
shave it off the cow, and then you go and erase your
Hell no,
mistake.
just get another paper or whatever the hell. That's too much work.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm out.
Okay.
Thanks for
I
stopping
feel like
by.
we all learned something here
Yeah.
today. Do we break before Crosstalk, or do they just come in?
Standard.
All right. I would like the stager, please.
ESPN AM 710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
K256CX 99.1 FM Pasadena, Los Angeles.
It's the greatest segment in LA sports radio history.
Oh my God. When the shows come together for magic on the radio.
It will only grow stronger. Super Crosstalk.
Are we ready for Sedano and Cap to join Mason in Ireland?
Super Crosstalk begins.
Super Crosstalk. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light. Made to chill.
It's time for Super Crosstalk.
All right, Beto Duran, Andy Kamenetsky in for Cap and Sedano.
All that noise he makes.
We were talking about ambitious failures, Andy, like in entertainment. Like there's Cop Rock qualifies. What else? Because I was like, when Andy gets here, he'll have a pretty good, like some really good movies.
Ambitious failures?
Really ambitious failures.
Why? What's the point of ambitious failures? Where'd that come up from?
List of
the list of terrible TV decisions.
Right.
Terrible TV decisions?
Via Rolling Stone.
Well, let's see.
Well, I love all the ones that ABC does.
There's never been a failure in the entire history of ABC or their parent company, Disney.
Right.
Never. Not one. They're flawless.
What a run.
What I mean, you go back to Fantasia to where we are now, not a single miss, Mr. Iger. As far as I'm trying to think of some like big time flops that cost a bleep ton of money.
Right.
The Postman with Kevin Costner.
That was
you could throw Waterworld.
No,
in there.
Waterworld made a lot more money than people realized.
Waterworld, I went back and watched it like during the pandemic when I had nothing to do, and I'm like, this movie isn't as terrible.
That's where you realize, by the way, too, you're a year into the pandemic. You're
Right.
like, I'm watching Waterworld.
I'm watching Waterworld now. Like, this is happening. This is what's going on right now.
We have officially run out of things to do.
I've got 2 hours before my sourdough is finished, so I might as well watch Waterworld.
Yeah, that wasn't as bad as I'm sure.
It really isn't.
Major movie. I mean, there's like the.
Okay, here's one. That After Earth movie, the Will Smith, Jaden Smith thing that they produced. It was like I think like $150 million movie that made like $30 million.
I thought you were asking about TV shows.
Like TV's movies.
Movies. Oh, okay. No, they're all.
There's Battlefield Earth.
Okay, Golden Palace, the spin-off of the Golden Girls.
Oh, yeah.
Did you remember that? Is that a thing?
Yeah, that was a
I
thing.
forgot about that.
Don Cheadle and Cheech Marin were in it.
Wow.
Like a then very unknown Don Cheadle and Cheech, I guess, looking to get into acting.
It didn't work.
Well, it eventually worked, but not on the strength of that.
Show.
How do you guys know this? Like, what happened in St. Louis? Did you guys know this much?
I am a reservoir of useless information.
Yeah, but that's bad. Don Cheadle and Cheech are the Golden Girls?
No, the Golden Palace. 3 of them, B. Arthur bowed out, but 3 of them opted to open a little inn.
Like a hotel or something.
Like a bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
Type
So
thing.
East Coast.
But here's the problem with this is going to be like when Andy is like 96, 97 years old and like he's in the home and he's just sort of rattling on about Don Cheadle and unknown, and they're going to be like, he's kind of off his meds again.
It's time for his meds.
Does anybody know what he's talking about? Like,
just go to his IMDb page. It's right there.
It actually part of it started just because people actually there's somebody in the Mason and Ireland community page claimed that this was the worst show of all time.
Oh, for real?
Ever.
No, it's like the worst show. This is the worst. This episode is the worst show in the history of Mason.
Oh,
and Ireland.
The 20-something year.
The Mafia is
history.
not.
Well, first of all,
us.
the Mafia is just that guy Joey that tweets. He's the only one. I'm not in it, but let me go look.
The Mafia is not loving us right now.
No, that's actually not true. I think they've kind of come through since then.
Ramon doesn't like you. Beth does.
I know he's just like checking off names. Like
Hooper's X, Golden Knight. Oh, Golden Knight's cool.
Golden Knight is cool.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, like, is there somebody that I need to have in my corner?
It's not like you guys are new. You guys have been here.
I mean, I just need somebody. Do I need to specifically have in my corner to be?
Well,
somebody
did. Yeah, the person in payroll that pays.
All right,
that's the person you need.
Sweet.
Yeah, like Marcus is coming in a lot. He's going to be with you guys tomorrow. But like somebody did ask on Twitter, like, "Oh, BK's in the studio. Like, who died?"
Wow. Oh, here it is.
Dang, man.
316.
You should have said that.
316 Chris, who has Dragon Ball Z as his avatar, says worst show in Mason and Ireland history. No disrespect to all 5 of the Cam brothers.
Yeah.
I like how
Really?
you put that in a comment and also pair it with no disrespect.
Romp him hates me. Okay, that's cool. I thought this was Beto clicked off. Spencer G, these fools are out again. Thumbs down. All right, well, they're still listening. There it is.
Right?
It's half the. But then the Mason Islander Mafia, it's only like 4 people, so it doesn't matter.
Look, you basically have like the approval rate of a president.
You know what? I'll take it.
Yeah, you probably
That's
have about
not
a
bad.
40% approval rate.
I will take
Look,
it.
As a former umpire, you can only please half the people half the time, and who cares? Just get paid.
Yeah,
That's it. Angel Hernandez, baby, he's still there for you.
Did you
It
see,
doesn't
by the
matter.
way, his lawsuit got dismissed?
Shocker.
Yeah.
What happened?
Angel Hernandez, umpire?
Yeah, he had some type of federal lawsuit claiming that he had not advanced past a certain point because of racism.
Yeah, he wasn't getting playoff games.
Right, and my guess is this judge had
because
watched
he's
baseball.
bad at his job.
Like casuals know him as the worst ump in baseball.
Right, Twitter is filled with Angel Hernandez missed that call.
Him and CB Buckner.
I mean, Angel Hernandez is shorthand for bad call.
Yes,
That's what
exactly.
it is.
And the best is Sedano will say, Angel Hernandez started in my little league in Miami. He was there. So he'll claim him.
How did he do that?
Wait,
how do
what?
you go from there to there?
Also, how do you
Well, everybody
remember that?
because George played in that little league. Angel's in his 50s. So, and then also when you come from a certain area, everybody's going to claim you, right? Like Alfonso Marquez grew up in Anaheim and Santa Ana, so he was umpiring those little leagues. So everybody makes a big deal like, hey, he started here. There's an umpire named Brian Walsh who went to San Pedro High. His dad was the football coach. I know you talk about random stuff. I know umpire random stuff. So that's the kind of thing. Everybody has to start somewhere.
I mean, but I think the umpires in my little league was like, somebody's dad. Like, wow.
Yeah, and then you start working a little bit more, and you start working a little bit more, and then somebody's like, hey, like I umpired high school softball when I was in college because you get paid $80 a game, and you're done an hour and a half. So then somebody's out there watching the assigners, like, hey, one, you have the time because games are at 3:00 in the afternoon. If you advance a couple more seasons, you can go to college, and then you're next thing you know, you go to the Wendelstedt School in Florida, and then a couple of kids get picked out of there, and you just go and go. Yeah, but the old guys are like the ones that are loaded. Like you haven't seen some real umpires till you've seen Sunday League baseball, the beer leagues that you and I played in before. The umpire just show up like, hey. Yeah, maybe it's foul, maybe it's not. Yeah, whatever. And there was a guy named Conejo in the league I played in Normandy Park in Torrance, where his Conejo means rabbit. And you said anything, he was like, what? Like, so it was like, tuck your ears in, rabbit.
This has been umpire talk.
Oh, yeah,
Beto
whatever.
Duran.
Look, man, that's what me and my best friend Clinton talk about all the time.
How do you follow pencil talk?
With umpire talk. I mean, it makes sense. Look, you have a.
We all got to start somewhere.
Sports Radio 101. Like I got to be honest with you guys. I was really deeply consumed with trying to get that game written and finished before 3:40. No plans for Crosstalk.
What game?
The pencil game.
The game of games.
Oh, the ones we weren't invited
He literally
to?
was like working on it as we were.
Again, I was going the game today.
The
in
one your
honor of
producer did
Beto
not invite
Duran's
us to.
Birthday.
Got it.
Was going. I heard this yesterday. You guys were talking about. They mentioned it's been Beto's birthday. You were coming in to host with Andy. By the way, it's Beto, and I've been saying Ramona most of the day, but it's Ramona tomorrow with me. But anyway, I was like, oh, Beto's in. It's his birthday. It's my game. Funchess told me for Beto's birthday, as his present, we will make a game and we'll rig it so Beto will win. And the way we'll do that is by making the game. Here is a list of professional athletes from L.A. Where did they go to high school?
And you still didn't invite me to the game.
I didn't make the game because they said, oh, don't do that because Beto won't play.
Why? I'll
Because
play
they
with
said Beto never plays.
with Mason. Oh. I love the Cam brothers.
Well, tell them that. You got to be more
I mean,
specific.
I go way back to the hoedown with you guys. When you had your Dodger blog for the LA Times, your Lakers, when every single time we've gotten fired, I'm always there for you guys, and you're there for me.
No, it's a trio of fire.
It's a trio. We all unite because it's like, hey, I'm no longer there. I'm like, oh, okay, so tomorrow I get the call. Okay.
But it's funny. Like we got
the triad of the unemployed.
When they brought us back again.
I had a chance. I was like, all right, there's a chance, baby.
we had to figure out. Like, I got some email from it was Amanda had sent it. And it was another person from like HR and whatever. And the response from the person in HR was, "Oh, those guys are back again."
Yeah, welcome back again.
We are hard to kill. This group.
We get employed by a punch card.
That's awesome. You get like a free ice cream after so many hirings and rehirings.
I think we're going to hit the ice cream.
Yeah.
If I had to
Sweet.
guess. That ice cream.
They know better to give us a parking pass, though.
You're not going to be here that long.
No.
He's
You're not going to be here long.
Bergman here still? Bergman.
Yeah.
Okay, still here?
You need parking?
I need validation.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
From yesterday.
3.
4.
Me 3.
Okay, good.
So, yeah.
Usually he delivers that. But
Hey, did
I
you
have
two-
them all.
Oh, you
Hey,
have
did
them
you
all?
two
Thank
go to
you,
school
Lindsay.
together at SC?
No.
No. What years were you there?
90 through 94.
Okay, so we just missed each other. I was 94 to 98.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
we
That's
just
right.
missed each other.
All right, so we're the same age.
Yeah.
Andy is significantly older than we are.
See, I mean, I wouldn't guess it.
No, nobody does.
Right.
That's not
Especially
true.
when they look at Brian.
No, but that's the last time we did a poll. I finally made it so like I passed you because I lost my hair when I was like 9.
No, he grew up basically like Charlie Brown.
Right. So I just had one hair that sort of curled
Which
around
is
my
like the
head.
cruelest thing Charles Schultz could ever do, right? Like, why do you make a 9-year-old kid bald?
No, like if you have never seen Charlie Brown before, and you just see this kid with no hair,
right?
Like you're like, what is going on with this? Like all these children are unsupervised. There's nary an adult around. Like
Pigpen has never seen
That kid
soap.
is
yeah,
filthy.
it's kind of
Never seen soap.
It's kind of dark context.
And
for
then you got
Charlie
a
Brown.
piano whiz.
Yes,
Like, the heck?
but no guidance. This
None.
kid's practicing piano like 8-9 hours a day. He's clearly trying to get out of this town.
And why is he
Wherever
sitting
this
on the
is.
floor? Can't get a bench?
No,
Well, it's because his piano can't get a bigger piano either.
Peppermint Patty
He's like-
stalking Charlie Brown.
Just straight up.
Did you have fun today, Marcus?
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was a great
You want
time.
to come back?
They'll pay me, right?
How bad was the show?
It's like being a blogger. They pay you an exposure.
Awesome.
So you've done TV and
It's
everything.
awesome. You know what? I've had a couple of those jobs.
I still got them.
You know?
Kids do
Let's see,
not work
Mason.
for free.
Don't do it, man. Can't pay your cell phone bill with exposure.
You can try.
You can try. Good luck.
Talk about ending up on a list.
Mason and Ireland Mafia. Oh, it was a solid show. All right, Jerry Calderon. All right, good.
I'm still taken aback by this is like the worst. No offense. This is the worst thing I've ever heard. No disrespect.
No disrespect, though.
There's
But
been
you
some
guys are
bad
awful.
shows.
You're terrible
Awful.
at what you do. No disrespect.
Right.
No.
I'm sure you're decent.
I mean,
that's right.
I mean this in the nicest way possible.
Right.
You're awful.
On this stage, on this show, it's a Reddit page. That's what everybody complains about, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to
That's
get there.
that's
So
where you
good.
really-
I really don't want to check that.
We talked about that. I
It's
do not-
actually
I
a
don't go to Reddit.
fascinating page.
Is it?
The Reddit page? I find it really.
You go and look at that?
Yeah. I mean, look, dude, I've been doing this long enough. I don't care. I mean, and also, I feel like if you want to criticize me, criticize anyone at the station, whatever, that's your right. Like, you can't do a front.
Okay, let me tell
job.
you. Okay, since we're airing grievances here, let me tell you, Brian,
Festivus now?
right?
But like, I find it fascinating because there's this community of listeners who I would say 85% seem to despise every show and every host on this station, but listen every single day. Like, it's
not the Twitter. Like the Twitter communities are all like.
Oh, no.
pretty
I mean, like-
positive.
No, not the
Reddit.
Reddit.
This is the Reddit one.
The Circle of Trust.
is amazing.
They welcomed me in immediately. I
dude.
love them.
You-
because you're a real one. The Mason Iron Mafia, they're bunch. It's just actually it's 3 people.
No. You know, the Mason Island Mafia, for the most part, I think are fans of this station. They're just not fans of Brian and Marcus.
That's
but,
fine.
Or
We're
Steve
not
or
for-
John.
We're
fair.
not for
But
everyone.
the
fair.
Reddit page is wild because, again, like you can say whatever you want. It truly does not bother me, but I just find it fascinating because it's this community of people who really seem to despise what they listen to every day.
Every day.
But
There
they
you go.
listen to it
Yes.
every day.
This is from Dead Meow 5 in the circle says, "Hey, BK and Cam brothers, that's the same guy. Hey, Marcus, the mafia is a bunch of bots who hate anything that isn't at Mason or in Ireland. Y'all good here in the circle. They hate us too. They spend all day yelling at clouds."
It's probably just Steve.
Oh, so there's war.
I love the idea that there's a battle between the fan bases of the two shows.
No, there's one side is the mafia, the other side is the Circle of Trust, and then you have the Travis and Sleewa community. It's like
that's
Switzerland.
No, that's not Switzerland. That is tumbleweeds.
They're off doing their own thing, huh?
I can't even find that community.
It's
brought
too
the whole
early in the morning
conversation
to
to
get
a halt.
riled up.
You need a map.
I'm still mad I wasn't invited to Game of Games that I was rigged for me.
I was ready.
That's
to
why
go.
we ended up talking about
They
pencils.
told me don't bother. Beto doesn't play.
And I've learned that I know nothing about pencils, apparently.
You do not do pencils.
It's National Number 2 Pencil Day.
He did.
It was not that bad.
I didn't say
You're
it
not too mad, but
was.
I'm
Laura was
saying
pretty good at it.
came out-
I'm a nerd.
Because she played
so
pencil break.
It
That's
was
why.
kind of. There was some stuff in there. It was kind of interesting.
All right, 412 guys, have a good show, boys. I'm out of here.
All right, yeah, that's fine. What is it? Kaplan and Sedano and Cap next. Andy and Beto in for those guys. I'll be back with Ramona tomorrow.
Best show of the year, baby.
Best show of the year. Marcus
I'll be at
will
HBC tomorrow.
At HBC tomorrow. So that's what everybody's doing. We'll see you next time. Enjoy. Have fun.